Hello and welcome to the SCA DPC closed qualifiers. We are here with the last series of the day. Yes, you heard me right. It is the last series. Originally, we had two series today, but one of the teams that we saw yesterday, Young Galacticos, got disqualified as it got found out that KSH, their carry, was scripting. As a result of this will be the last series of the day, and it will determine the second qualified team to the DPC. The first team, of course, being Spawn Team. The second one could be either Low Gun or Drink Water. So we're going to have to see which of these teams can do better.
Yeah, exactly. Seeking Striking Novel Plus here on the call with you guys. Hello, good to see you guys.
That's my name.
Good morning. It's or afternoon because it's going to be 1 p.m., which is when our lobby starts.
No, morning.
It's pretty morning for us gamers, I would say.
Yeah.
And thanks for joining us. We can go ahead and take a look at our bracket to see how we got here in this specific circumstance, as we're going to be playing our lower bracket match, which is now kind of our lower bracket final match, of course, as YG will be forfeiting, of course, that death loss in the lower bracket final. So Little Gun and Drink Water now going to take on each other to see who will qualify for that second spot. It'll be the 8th spot and final spot, of course, for Division 2 Dota, which is going to round us out here for our winter season.
Yeah, very exciting. I think that many people were expecting Drink Water and Lil Gun to be some of the favorites regardless. Perhaps maybe Drink Water a little bit more because their names are more well known, as Lil Gun did have a lot of changes since last season. In fact, they're one of their biggest players from last season is now playing in Drink Water. So it wouldn't be surprising that there's a little bit of a revenge here due to the slot selling that Lil Gun engaged in this year.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be good to still see them back. Of course, I'm not exactly sure what the decision was or why the decision was made to give up their slot, but
the logic, apparently, what people were saying, were the idea that they gave up their slot because they felt that they were not ready for Division 1 and they would qualify to Division 2 anyway. So that was what I heard. So it was like a business maneuver per se. Of course, if they don't qualify, then that defeats the purpose. SMG admin on Twitter has already been pretty... he's been on fire with the jokes to these poor guys. So yeah, it would be nice to see them again, but Lil Gun is less of is somewhere between org and stack, right? It's one of those like older orgs where you provide more of amenities and help for the players rather than providing them a consistent salary with sponsors and everything like that, which is normal for Division 2 teams.
Well, we'll see here if they're going to be able to take up against what is truly a stack that is Drink Water, as the team's 100% banners, but I think the team is certainly the team name anyway, certainly implying it there. And already the Rubik and the Ench are both out here. So Lil Gun opening up with the support duo here with last pick on Dire's side. Drink Water just showing the tiny, but have 8th pick here. And we'll see what they want to go for. Already, I don't know if you'd want to go for a... Tusk isn't looking like always banned, of course, because everyone always bans Naga and Tusk first phase against Drink Water. Tusk actually a little bit more rare. Lots of teams have actually not been choosing to ban the Naga Siren against Drink Water. Of course, that didn't work yesterday for their opponents, so perhaps Lil Gun are just being a little bit safer with it.
Radiant team back.
Yeah, I feel like the Tusk was a little bit lackluster in general, to be honest. Like, I think maybe the versatility of it makes him still a very strong pick and therefore a very strong ban. I think Drink Water, maybe it's a little bit better with it, but I do think that current picks for Drink Water are a little bit scarier. Both the Lina, that these guys like to play mid, but I think there's a little bit of flex potential regardless, even if Miracle is not the biggest player. It works really well with Miracle's fast carries. And of course, to me, the biggest one is Tiny for Kishka. I think this guy's an insane Tiny.
Yeah, he is he's a really, really good Tiny. He played, I think he basically won them the series yesterday, at least in game 1. Was a super, super thorough player and ended up being a really big key driving force. Setting up team fights and even kind of just baiting people in a little bit too aggressively, hoping to get that kill onto Tiny, which is not easy, even as a support, just thanks to his the grow armor you get and his big HP pool. So, really squeezing all the efficiency he can out of that hero.
Well, I'm kind of surprised by my Drink Water compared to like yesterday. Yesterday we saw a lot of Zeal Beastmaster, right? A very early pick for the guy, and this time they're not even first phasing it. They're not even. I mean, Lil Gun seems to be ignoring it completely. Perhaps the Enchantress is enough to like deter this pick altogether. But I wonder if they're gonna go for something like some other similar hero for Zeal, right? I know he plays Beastmaster and Lycan. I think he's not that much of a Visage player, and Visage would be a good hero, for example, if you really want to deal with the Enchantress but still get Zoo. So, well, we'll see what they consider.
Now that Lina comes through, like you said, good answer to the Zoo, strong mid laner. I still would like to see this hero in the mid lane from Drinkwater, and it probably is because it's not really a miracle hero anyway, so it's probably where it's going to end up going. It's not really a concern with you if you're Drinkwater. As you can see, Lil Gun immediately banning out the Carry Doom. Yes, that's right, the Carry Doom, which is a favorite. It's a staple, really, of Drinkwater's, as well as this Night Stalker hero that basically hard counters both of these two supports. And if she can't cast any spells, is literally useless because her attacks do almost no base damage. It's really just the impetus you're worried about there. And Bat Rider ban. It's probably another miracle ban incoming then. Problem is he's like got this weird hero pool where like the Doom especially I think is a super relevant ban because that's even kind of like a normal pick these days as far as
for Drinkwater.
Yeah, for Drinkwater, but it's also not like the rarest offlane pick these days in general, to be honest. Like I think that's a hero that Zeal can just as easily play, and then they just pick Drinkwater, or they pick Miracle, that is just a normal carry as well. Because he's been playing like a lot of weird stuff. Naga especially has been the overwhelming favorite pick, but ever since they've entered into the later stages now of this qualifiers, teams have been very eager to ban it against him. And actually, Lil Gun are going to steal the Magnus away from Drinkwater. That's their something like 7th or 6th most played hero, just behind Naga Siren. Actually, Drinkwater really do like going with that mag.
We've been talking about how the mag has kind of been gaining a little bit of protagonism as well in general in this DPC, right? Like all regions are starting to pick him up a little bit more. But you said his win rate in C was pretty lackluster, right? You said like it was 35% or something like that, pretty low.
What was that on the Magnus?
Yes, Magnus.
Maybe our stats guy did. I wouldn't have known to.
You mentioned it yesterday in the match. You said that you always saw him losing in C.
Oh, me? Yeah, Magnus
like...
personally, yes. I did always see Magnus picking it because it was always teams kind of just picking it without, like, they just picked it last because they're like, we need team fight. We need a melee laner that's going to win this lane. And they'd go Magnus, right? And then they would have, like, a Lina mid and, like, a TA or something like that. Where it was just, like, didn't really make sense with their heroes.
Yeah, okay. All right, that makes sense. I feel like this one is... No, there's the Beastmaster anyway, by the way. They decided, I don't care about Enchantress. I mean, we talked about this yesterday. If you just go Axis, I don't feel like Enchantress is a counter for the Beastmaster as much as it used to be. But it does feel a little bit like I just threw a Magnus in-game. Well, now it feels even more like that, frankly.
Yeah, and this is the problem, right? When you end up just kind of throwing a Magnus in. It's like when restaurants just start putting kale in everything, you know? It's not going to work with everything. Sometimes it'll work if you have like the right kind of ingredients, but it's not always going to work. Don't put kale on my burger. Get that out of there.
I disagree. That's actually one of the few times that it works, but like kale is just grass for fish, right? So I think it's in general pretty bad to put it on. If I put grass on your food, would you think it's okay?
That's exactly right. This is what this Magnus is doing here when you have an Arc Warden. I don't know. It's just like, it's not necessarily counter synergy, but I mean, actually, it kind of is, right? Because you don't want to gather enemies with Flux, but I guess you're using Flux more for the pickoffs.
Actually, it doesn't matter at all, to be honest, anymore. Because now Flux, like I said, Flux is for pickoffs, right? But Flux still deals damage, even if you are together now. You get half values for slow and the damage, so it doesn't really matter anymore. The Magnus is actually pretty good with Arc Warden. So the anti-synergy is obviously the Empower, right? Your ranged Empower. That sucks, right? And it's also the fact that Arc Warden is a hero that tends to either go for magical damage builds. These days, mind you, the Axe build is the most popular. Or his physical builds don't tend to increase his base damage, which means Empower is not very useful on him. Like if you Empower a Dusa or a Luna, right? Which do go for a lot of stats, fine. I mean, you're getting damage. It's never bad for the carry. But Arc Warden has no synergy with that at all. The synergy with Magnus and Arc Warden is Magnus keeps him away. You know, you play keep away, Arc Warden manages to just get his range, and he's probably the best range carry as long as the enemy team can stay away. Problems with Arc Warden, tiny. The advantages of Arc Warden, Lina. It's probably the best matchup against Lina. I don't know how... as long as Drinkwater, though, pick something that can get close to him, I don't feel like this is the easiest Arc Warden game. This hero is countered by over 50% of the hero pool, so usually there's a counter left.
Yeah, and I feel like this bodyguard game is not going to be easy to play when you have a global silence to counter a mag, and also Hawks to scout him.
Yes, and roar as well, which annoys the mag, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, if you're supposed to RP and he, like, roars you in the middle of the skewer, then all of a sudden, you know, no more keep away, and you get to bark.
That's also true. I also just don't think he's going to get off any crucial skewers. Unless Silencer is playing out of position, like, I just always foresee a global coming. Like, there's just no excuse, I think, honestly. Because once you take down Mag, like, he is the team fight right now for low gun. And there is more team fight now for Drinkwater, which means this is going to be... What the heck is their carry? Lina, right? Pango mid? It has to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Zeal is like the best Beastmaster right now in the qualifiers, so I think you're giving that to him.
Yeah, also Beastmaster in any other position would be sacrilege, right?
Yes, of course. But then naturally, I don't think you're going to want to run a Pango carry, so...
Yeah, it's Lina carry. I guess they've jumped on the hype train, Richie. They're doing the Lina carry thing too.
They have.
Not a super fan of this, to be honest. I feel like Arc Warden is very good against the Lina carry, and I don't think Pango is enough to deal with Arc Warden. Usually the magic damage build is a little bit more tanky. And now you have a second win condition, which... I mean, maybe they could have picked a second win condition that's actually good for this game, but I'll take it. I'll take a second win condition that's bad for this game. It's better than nothing. And now you have to deal with the Arc Warden, which is going to be this kind of unstoppable force, and you also have to deal with the TA who's going to try to kill your Silencer every single fight to enable the Magnus.
Yeah, but once again, you know, they've gone with this Magnus, and it's just like a Magnus on top of this draft. I understand, you want to play keep away, but there's so many other heroes in the game that do that can also synergize a little bit better with their heroes, right? I don't think that role is limited to a Magnus. Like a Tide Hunter, for example, right? Oh no, we had to initiate around the Tide. Try and jump the carries. The counter initiation's too strong on Ravage, right? He doesn't have such an obvious combo like Blink. Obviously, Horn Toss isn't really bread and butter anymore, but Blink and then Skewer, or Blink RP and then Skewer, like, you're not ruining one of his combos with Global Silence. Sure, you can try and Global Silence anyone, like, obviously that's going to be true, but Magnus really has to put himself out of position and a little bit more vulnerable compared to someone else who can just counter-initiate a little bit easier.
I mean, I see where your rant is coming from. Don't get me wrong, Rich. I see where your frustration is coming from, but I feel like the Magnus's role this game is really to play keep away, and by keep away I mean skewer in the opposite direction, like skewer them away from the Arc Warden in many cases, right?
I get that. So
I feel like what other I'm genuinely thinking of offlane heroes, and there's not that many heroes that can do that. Because force positioning, you have like what, Tiny Batrider, I guess. That would be a really weird way to play Batrider. I guess Batrider is pretty good too, but he is not a hero that's very popular.
No, but you don't need to literally push people away this game. You need to basically, like, sure, that is one way of exert. Because the concept you're talking about is like zoning. You need to zone enemies away, right?
Previous teammates. Oh, that's adorable. No. That's very nice, actually. Compared to the spiteful tips of yesterday, this is much nicer.
Of course. Kishka Revenge. There it is. You know, because what you're talking about is like zoning. Oh, is he gonna... Oh, he didn't have boots. I thought he was gonna buy boots and then plant the ward here.
My spirit will follow you, Zeal. Okay.
That's adorable.
That is so sweet.
Is this who Zeal has his summons named after?
No. They are not the old teammates.
Okay.
I think it's just because they all like somewhat know each other, obviously from pubs and playing. And then of course you have Kishka, which is I've played with them before, so it's nice. Anyway, I think at this point, if you're as old as Miracle, you've played with everyone in this.
That's probably true. Yeah, that's probably true. In any case, the point I'm talking about is there are many offlane heroes that can exercise zone control, which is basically what you're talking about, right? Skewering people away is one form of zone control, certainly.
Okay, so okay, sure. I feel like Ravage is a little bit weak. Maybe, I mean, it's a good spell. I mean, it's just a small stun, right? Like, if you sold me on something like Centaur, which is more consistent stuns, maybe, you know? Maybe I would be more sold on that. Perhaps Brew with a Cyclones to deal with a one hero that can jump the Arc Warden? Sure, okay, I can see more heroes doing this zone control you're talking about.
Mars even, this game, might be
you know what? That's much better.
I mean, like, this is, like, there are so many, like, I get what you're saying, you're not wrong, but, like, conceptually, you know, yes, Magnus...
No, you're right.
Dota 2 heroes, the game design in Dota is fantastic, right? Heroes do very specific things, agreed, right?
Yes.
No,
but Mars does what Magnus does, but better.
As far as the zone control for your range carry, specifically against Alina, that's, like, really what they want. Yeah, for sure.
What?
I agree. But anyway.
What? What is this message?
That being said, this stream also contains chemicals that may cause cancer in the state of California, because everything has to have that disclaimer.
Yeah, they're also banned in the EU.
It's a very, very American joke.
Specifically the UK.
All right, well, best of 3 here, which is going to be essentially, in essence, our lower bracket final. Winner here qualifies. Should be an exciting match. And Trill has gone with the meld first into this Tiny. I wonder if this is like the way to try and just beat Tiny back, because of course his damage is ridiculous with level 1 tree grab. Oh no. Poor Courier got absolutely murdered.
Yeah, I mean...
Because when I spoke with Adam,
right?
who is a certified TA spammer, it's like one of his best core heroes, according to in his own words, you know?
Wait, Adam, like 343?
Yeah, 343. He says
why do you care about his core heroes, though?
Well, because he's still a high-level Immortal player.
Yeah, but you're asking a support about his core heroes, you know? It's like you're asking a chef about how to build a wall.
Yeah, but this is a very bad analogy. It's his most played core hero, and within a fair degree, because every now and then there's no ranked roles at high MMR, right?
Oh, that's true.
Every now and then you have to play the hero, right? And he says he does not like this meld at level 1 at all, even against in matchups like this. So he says he prefers. He says it's just weak. He says he thinks Psyblades are just much better at dealing with summons in general, or it's usually just not worth bullying the Tiny that much, especially with like an Ench. Like I don't think this is really like a kill lane.
Interesting. When you ask another TA spammer, who's a core player, Chris Luck, he likes the meld level 1 against the melee heroes because of all the guaranteed last hits you can get against them. Because early you struggle a little bit as TA, because you don't have the Quelling Blade damage, right? I mean, you do, but you don't have the good Quelling Blade damage. And the attack animation for melee heroes is better, so meld helps you in level 1, level 2. Mind you, I will agree with a summons thing, but I don't think he's going for summons this game. Or he's not going to really summon them, right? Because Enchantress just takes them.
Yeah, sure. No,
I don't know about the Tiny thing. I actually don't know what the Tiny's role in this lane is, though, to be honest. Like you can't really do much once the refraction comes up, right? And Enchantress will just heal your damage up, so I guess this is your best bet. Just cut lane.
Creep shenanigans, I guess. Ench might be able to stop this with her pretty good attack range and move speed, though, is the problem. Does he have boots on this Tiny? I don't think he did, right? Because, he went items early. Yeah, we'll see what he can... We'll see what he ends up doing, then.
Yeah.
Mid lane, Midas Rush for the Arc Warden after a double Wraith Band.
Interesting. Okay. Fascinating. So I wonder if 423 is going to be going for a physical build, which I have not seen an Arc Warden for ages.
Oh, bottom, though, is First Blood, 11. Gonna get that skewer back, and the kill onto RR.
Good kill. Yeah, I don't know. The physical build on Arc Warden, ever since the nerf to the Ags, which is a really considerable nerf, people have been experimenting with it again. But it felt really bad before, so I don't think a nerf to the other build makes it any better, right? So I'm curious as to what 423 is planning. Wraith Bands are not a common item these days on Arc Warden. It used to be when you're mid Arc Warden, I guess, because you're more impactful early, but not with the Ags Lightner build, obviously.
That was an interesting move. Getting the trying to block the camp. Looks like
nice. Oh my god, he got the double bounce. That's huge. I think he might actually die.
He might be in trouble. This
one impetus, he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. SC even waited to the last second to use the impetus, so he couldn't deny himself. Very clever.
That Warpine Raider doesn't mess around, man. He's out for blood. One of the strongest neutrals, just with his right clicks, and his abilities are, in situations like that, extremely strong.
Right, early on his abilities are broken, right? It's just that by the time that you get him on Chen, for example, or Helm, it just feels weak because 100 damage is nothing. But Enchantress, who can get him really early, feels very, very good with this here.
Oh, there's there. Oh, he got a second bounce. Very lucky.
1, 2, there are 6 units around him. There's no way he gets these double bounces constantly. Mid lane, they got a kill on the Pangolier as well, by the way.
Miracle, though. Oh, just kidding. Miracle's fine. He's continuing to fight and will turn back onto 11, but they won't be able to dive for the kill. Still impressive.
And Miracle's playing it's like a mid laner, right? When you gank a mid laner, what does she do? Stand her ground and kill you.
That's kind of what it feels like these days, isn't it?
Top, sorry. Zeal will also die here to SC and Trill. Once again, it's just the constant kills where people are playing a little bit too aggressively and they're punished for it. He tried to TP after the enchant, and it did not really work out. At least I did check, and he did not get the double bounce again from the Warpine Raider. Pango's in trouble now, though. Arc Warden has clone. He killed him first without the clone. Now he has a clone to kill him a second time. XT Learn luckily has the ball, so he dispels the Fluxer himself. Rubik is here to help. We do have a telekinesis here. Let's see what Ace does. Ace is gonna die, but he dewards before he dies, so at least he found some use for his first life.
Yeah, it's a pretty big golden flux, though. Excellent. Yeah, he doesn't get the kill onto the Arc Warden, but he kills it I mean, about halfway, maybe less than halfway through its duration. So the clone lived long enough. It served its purpose, but he did get the bounty for it. So, and he gets a support kill. Not the best outcome. Arc Warden still lives, but he does get something for his Rolling Thunder at least, even if it's just money. So Orb of Corrosion will be online relatively quickly, or I guess he can go for the full arc. Well, not full arcanes. It is full arcanes actually. I think those are his boots in the courier. Yeah, so he's got full arcanes ready to go. Nice, and double bounties. Very nice. He's also got some huge stacks right now for him in the Radiance Triangle. Dire have already scouted this though. You can see that sentry has been placed down, but this was scouted already. I don't know if he's going to be the one to take these stacks necessarily. They may go perhaps to Beastmaster to get, well, maybe not, because against an Ench, I don't know if you really want Helm that early on until the Ench leaves the lane.
No, you do still want Helm, right? Because the sooner you get Helm, the sooner you get the Overlord, which is when Ench can stop countering.
That's a good point, right? You can see she's already, blocking camps. She's probably going to use this Centaur Conqueror to make sure Tiny cannot restack. Really, really annoying stuff.
Yep. But I think it's the best use of this lane. Like, we knew even if Zeo can deal with this lane, it's not going to be completely counter. It's not easy. Oh, Pango comes in. All right, here's his Pango stacks instead. He's going to try to get the kill on SC. We have the Rolling Thunder still available. There's the Avalanche to set for it. And they don't need it. Swashbuckle will be enough. Getting the 5 hits on Swashbuckle both times.
Yeah, but the fight down bottom here as 4-2-3 will rotate away. Miracle dies, gets a kill onto Ace before he goes, but it'll be a double kill for the cloned Arc Warden. Man, that Arc Warden clone died right as soon as he was dancing. That was just sad, honestly. He died doing what he loves.
Dancing. Do you know Arc Warden was a tap dancer in the Dota universe before he became a allegory for psychological issues?
An overseer. Is that true? Is that what he is? I guess he's probably.
Yeah, well, you know, Arc Warden is they're all references to Carl Jung, right? All his lines are references to Carl Jung and other psychologists, but particularly Carl Jung because he was the inventor of the ego.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and technically Arc Warden, like it's the ego, right? The two forms of self are the two of the clone in himself.
I would have thought Julius Caesar was the original form of ego.
No, Julius Caesar had an ego, but he didn't create the concept of it. Apparently, when you stab someone 42 times, the ego quickly depletes.
That's very true, yeah.
It's the first thing that falls after the
Carl Jung
blood.
looking at his body. Yes, the ego drooped out through these holes.
Thank you, Brutus. This is great study material.
Oh, good to know. No, I don't really know that much about psychology, but that's pretty cool, actually, to be honest. Zeal's in trouble.
I don't know either. I just looked up his lines.
Actually, he's fine. He had a roar if he needed to disengage, and now this Warpine Raider is not really too annoying. But it is going to be
the impact of the Wraith Band. So a lot of Arc Warden actually rotate early, which is a rarity for Arc Warden mid, instead of just being static mid, right? They actually do a lot. It's the same idea behind you remember the Sniper who used to go like 4 Wraith Bands mid and just rotate it off on auto attacks?
Yeah, that was the Sniper that only went for the take aim active, right?
Yes, exactly.
044,
yes.
and then he would level stats.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that. Good times.
It's the same concept, except this one obviously has a better build and not weird. XT Learn might be in trouble. Yep, he is going to die. XT Learn, sorry, is going to die here. As Arc Warden gets the kill, losing the clone in the process, who cares? There is a Spark Wraith available in 1 second, has enough range to check out what Kishka is, and forces Kishka away. Nice shockwave, but Kishka does avoid it. Fate Bolt in a second, he will have it. And he's actually going to let the Arc Warden take it instead.
Yeah.
Good placement on those Spark Wraiths, 4-2-3. Sure. Very impressed.
Siege Shot was also pretty necessary there, otherwise Rubik would have to take the kill. The support's really working for their core's kills there. Mid lane. 4-2-3 off to a really good start. 5-0-0 by the way. He's been involved in 5 of 8 kills by that math. And that's pretty impressive for a mid laner. Arc Warden causing chaos anywhere he decides to step over, and that'll mean his Hand of Midas is going to be very well timed. He'll have that really, really quickly here. Has the brown boots already, empty bottle, so he'll be forced to run home, but wants to at least get the Midas delivered before.
Yep. I'm very curious as to what the build is going to be after this Midas. We'll see. And then we'll start to determine where the Arc Warden goes. With the TA, I think you do have a little bit more flexibility, right? TA is also doing pretty well herself. Her lane went well, honestly, maybe to be expected, right? Because she has an Enchantress to cover her. She's already a Dragon Lance and farming her next item. What do you think is the idea for TA this game? Do you go for an early Blink to gank, Desolator straight up to continue dealing more damage, BKB? Oh, Arc Warden? Oh, that's cool. That's fine.
I don't know, because I'm not really sure what this Arc Warden is gonna do here. Like, I think it's kind of... Okay, it's Gleipnir.
He's going Gleipnir.
Yeah, okay. So if he's going Gleipnir, then I think you probably want to go for Blink earlier. Maybe second item?
Right, so it seems like a magic damage Arc Warden then.
Yeah.
With the Ags.
And he's got really good control. You've got this Magnus now, who I think makes a little bit more sense, because that double Gleipnir is like 500 magic burst, isn't it? It's like a ridiculous amount. It's like a Lion Shooter, basically.
You know why Gleipnir's so good in Arc Warden these days?
Hold on, this sounds like a punchline. Let me think about it for a second.
No, it's not. That's not a punchline. It's like genuine analysis point.
Dire's top tower is falling.
I'll just tell you, I thought it was me.
I don't know. I'm sorry. No, I can't come up with...
So they nerfed Arc Warden's damage, right, when he's far away from the clone. The attack damage penalty. But it doesn't nerf any of the item effects or any of the... Like, it doesn't nerf the Maelstrom damage, for example. So Gleipnir, because of the active, that 500 damage you're talking about does not get nerfed. So you can actually use it really fast to push waves. It's actually one of the best impacts of this item. It's one of the reasons why it started getting picked up a lot after the 50% damage nerf.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I always forget that he got that ginormous nerf after he was just this ridiculous hero for a long time.
He was crap, and then Icefrog was like, you know what? Fuck this hero.
You know what? I lost to this hero. I'm done with him.
Yeah, there was this one game that went to 60 minutes, and Icefrog said, no, never again.
Gleipnir is something with magical properties. A bond with magic properties forged by elves and used by the gods to bind Loki. Interesting. So a bound Loki, hence why it's like a root upgrade. Very cool reference. Unfortunately, not an easy connection to make a joke there to Arc Warden.
Dire's top tower is
Hell,
under
then,
attack.
you know, yeah, I don't... I have
Elves
tons
are
of
pretty
things to
full
say,
of
but they're all
themselves,
bad.
aren't they? They've got some pretty big egos.
What, Loki?
Well, elves too, don't right? Especially high elves.
I've never met an elf personally. I wouldn't want to judge that whole race based on my one interaction. I think it was just a dude with pointy ears, actually. I wouldn't.
That's fair enough. Fair enough.
But
but
right now the game is
going
come
for Deso, so
yeah,
I hope
thank
it's
you.
Blink next. It might end up being BKB because it's a good item versus the Tiny versus the Lina.
Look how slow the game is, though. I feel like right now they're getting all the space they want, and you have an Arc Warden TA. Go full greed. I'm not against this. In fact, they're ganking with the Arc Warden. I am very impressed by 423's activity in this early game.
Is this like the active Arc Warden itemization, Midas, and then Javelin? Like this is wild, or is he just having? He's just having a good
He's
game.
just playing. He's just playing active. Like, you can technically play active with Arc Warden in the first 15 minutes because your clone is so strong, right? Like, double flux is ridiculous early. Especially the level 10 talent is huge. But it's just he's just playing well. I mean, I think he's just playing on his timings. It's a little bit difficult with Arc Warden because his timings are probably one of the tightest in the game early. Because your clone goes very easily from great to gold source for the enemy team, right?
Yeah, that's true. It's true. I guess he really, in the terms of heroes that really utilize items the most and need to use those power spikes, it's like Alchemist, Arc Warden are really up there, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it doesn't feel too great once you kind of lose that initial power spike and enemies start to outscale you with other abilities and items.
Well, I think the case of Arc Warden is weird because, like, he has power spikes on almost every single item, but they're very much smaller, as you said. Like, Javelin can actually be his power spike because 2 Javelins is huge, right? It's a 2200 gold power spike, but obviously it's not as effective as, well, literally every other one. And I think with Alk it's different. With Alk, all of a sudden you have a much bigger net worth enemy team. Arc Warden doesn't necessarily require that. And Arc Warden now requires some assistance because Tiny is looking for a jump.
I think this is good.
Doesn't have Blink Dagger though, so I don't know what Kishka was looking for actually.
Yeah, Drinkwater, they need to fight because their lineup is not gonna do amazing. The late game,
I think 11 could just go. Oh my god, what an RP! He got the Beast Master. That's much better than Kishka. Gonna go for RR and Zeal.
Oh,
the promo
TA got
more
rolled
plus
into
the
the
global
river.
silence, hopefully to counter initiate here. They got the clone here, but Arc Warden is still safe, and the clone is attacking RR. RR is already
He's
down.
gonna die.
Nice avalanche though, sets up for the kill here onto Trill as Zeal gets murdered. Kishka as well with the last Fate Bolt. Can they go for the Lina? They have Fluxter. They are sending the Arc Warden in. Look at him go. He's not afraid of anything. They just tossed him. Miracle gets a stun, but that's not going to be enough. 423 TPing in the middle of this fight. 11 now tries to get away, but the last word will get him. And SD in a similarly awkward position will TP in the face of Pango, and he'll be fine. I now see the courage Kishka has is embodied by every single Mongolian player.
Yeah, that was a really good roar. It actually, the only reason TA dies, she has an excellent position there on the high ground, and the roar awkwardly sends her like a cartoon down the cliff. You know, like the Wile E. Coyote when she's like having the, like she's like waving her feet in the air and all of a sudden she starts falling. That's exactly what happened. She probably wasn't expecting that. Trill having an unexpectedly bad fight because it allows the Lina to join from the side and she just has nowhere to go. Stuck on the wall, didn't get also Pango rolled up onto the back onto the high ground, which would have saved her. Really, really unfortunate time to join the fight there for Trill. Or other side of the coin, really good Primal Roar, good fight for Drinkwater, but as soon as Lina and Tiny are down, there's no stuns. So that's also makes it really easy for Logan to just simply TP away. Really awkward.
Yeah, but it was smart that they thought about that, right? They thought like we can always leave with a TP because they have kind of limited stuns as well, right? And they calculated that with Tiny and Lina specifically. Like it's not an these are low cooldown stuns. It's not easy to consider that when you TP. I think they're getting a lot out of this early game that I don't know if I would necessarily say should be theirs, right? With a Beastmaster Pango, I'd expect a little bit more from Drinkwater.
Yep. It is going to be BKB next for TA, which I think is going to help a lot against Dine in those specific scenarios. So that'll be a great item for her. They're trying maybe to poke and prod here.
There's the Enchantress. She's trying to heal herself. SC. Last word will hit. But SC is tanking a fair amount of damage. However, there is no help from the rest of his team, so he is just going to go down.
He's going to die. That's not bad, though. Now they know how many heroes were top lane. It's 4, right? So 4, 2, 3 can respond appropriately. The 4, you know, is really relevant in his name at this stage. You can see how patient he is. He's not even going forward to Midas. I'm not going to lie. That's not something I could resist. Got Midas at the ready. Letting creeps even hit the tower because he has absolutely no vision on enemy heroes. Now he's going to pick up the Tiny on the ward. But still super patient here. Not risking his life at all.
Yeah,
but his team... Okay, his team left the center behind so he can Midas it. There we go. That's nice, actually. That's very considerate of their team.
And I think Mech's about to be delivered here as well for 11. So Lil Gun have a decent spike here to fight. They still have this Blink RP ready again. 4-2-3, not much stronger than the last time we saw him. TA, well, a full Desto now in this fight that hopefully she'll get to use if she can maintain her positioning. Not get roared down cliffs.
I don't think she seems to care, honestly. I think she's just going to go straight for BKB. And continue farming until she's like the most farmed carry in this game. Since Arc Warden is covering you and he's still finding farm, this is one of the technical advantages of Arc Warden, right? You don't usually see this on this hero, but because you have 2 Midases, technically you can be fighting all the time and you still have this constant gold influx, which means you don't actually need to be farming that much. And they're utilizing that very well, allowing TA to take this space instead, and Arc Warden to have this kind of intermediate role, allowing him to
bubble
to still keep up in Nerf.
There it is. Is he going to deny the tower? Looks it's 49 HP. No, doesn't deny it. Goes to the dragon. Careful here, though.
The dragon?
No,
okay, he should have seen there's a hawk now because the flux stopped activating itself for a second. And yeah, there's the spark wraith. That's the perfect use of it as well.
Yeah, he used it as well when he TP'd away in the middle of the fight. He went hasta luego, which is pretty good.
That's pretty good. Now, I understand that Indonesians or Filipinos might understand what hasta luego means because obviously there's a little bit of Spanish influx in their language, but Mongolians, that's just next level, honestly.
I think it's also like Spanish is this language that kind of makes it. If you watch like English media, popular Western media, Spanish makes it into there very casually.
Yeah, but poor Spanish.
But what Spanish?
Poor Spanish, like not good Spanish. Every time I see English media using Spanish, it's cringe. Have you watched Breaking Bad? It's very cringe.
Los pollos hermanos. What do you mean?
No, if you say hermanos one more time, I swear.
Hermanos. BKB is coming online though for Drinkwater. These are some strong hermanos to learn as well. He's just gonna go ahead and come in. Rolling Thunder wants to cover this Roche, making sure Lina doesn't have to lose it or pop BKB on the way out.
Okay, brother. Okay.
There's BKB now, Mano for Trill.
Yeah. He's gonna go for Gleipnir himself. Of course, the Lina build these days. Hopefully this will help them get close to Arc Warden and deal with the TA as well. I think you probably like Gleipnir TA and run away because I think TA's first objective will probably be the Lina still. I think you can still burst her, right, if you jump onto her.
Yeah, I think so. It'll be a little bit harder with BKB now that you don't have trap slow.
True.
And
Maybe
again,
Silencer then instead?
yeah, Silencer would be a really nice jump, right? Because you don't care. As long as you get the Meld Strike off on him, like, he's going to die in 2 hits pretty much. Who cares if you get globaled? You got BKB now for that exact purpose. Blink Dagger is going to be online relatively soon, and that's when I think Magnus can start shifting a little bit more into, like, this setup for TA and maybe even for Arc Warden, and not so much have to be a little bit of a protector. His first RP was an aggressive one, which I do really like to see. Wow, that's a lot of damage onto a tier 1. Goodbye, deleted.
Yeah, this TA is finally coming out of her farming jungle, right? And she's ridiculously strong. 4-2-3 has finally finished its Gleipnir as well, so we're actually going to get a really strong power spike here.
Zeal is getting a tier 2 in return, so some action's going to be forced, as that's just the Arc Warden clone, which is just going to time out in the mid lane. Don't think that, yeah, it was the creep that died that gave him the gold bounty there.
Dragon up top, though. Trying to take the tier 2 solo, kind of.
Dragon up top sounds like a Pokemon.
Or 2000's power metal band.
That's true. Dragon up top. Kishka's stuck here. He tried to get himself into the river. He'll be able to free himself in a couple more seconds, but there is a little cliff here where you can actually plant some wards. It's a fairly common spot, actually.
Oh. Found the Dark Troll Summoner.
I think they...
Or Dark Troll Summoner found him, I would say.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I guess he didn't have anything else to do there, right? Still waiting for his Tumblr's toy. DD Rim picked up by 11, who will skewer up to the high ground to safety. He has his full Guardian Greaves now, by the way.
Well, yeah, I feel like this team should be strong. Like, Lokan right now should be stronger than Drinkwater. Not that Drinkwater hasn't gotten big items like, you know, the Fusible Blade on Pango, but they're still a little bit off on the Ags on the Pango. Lina still doesn't have her Gleipnir. The Beastmaster is more of a pusher right now than he hasn't transitioned yet to being the team fight utility hero.
I think if you're Little Gun, though, like, you're probably still fine fighting. I think probably until you at least have 1 or 2 more items on this Arc Warden, I think that's when you really start wanting to force your fights a little bit more. Because, like, TA still needs her Blink Dagger. Maybe after that, she'll get her Crystallis or her Daedalus. She can go for maybe 1 defensive item if she wants. I mean, the only action we're going to see is just, you know, the supports kind of walking into enemy cores every now and then. Just looking to find the enemy team, pretty much. I just don't think, like... Yes, they are strong, but I don't think they necessarily feel like they're in a position where they need to be fighting. I think right now, you know, given that there's a silence, I mean, he's got 10 ints already, which ain't bad. But like a Pangolier, who now has got a big item, right? His Ag Scepter. You got Aegis on Lina. You know, like, I don't see them needing to fight in this period with this Aegis necessarily. I don't think they're, like, really scared if this Zeal BKB.
I guess you're right.
I
guess you can just wait patiently until the Aegis expires, and then once the Aegis expires, perhaps force a smoke, right? By that time, I mean, TA just got our Blink Dagger, so like you are out of power spikes. Blink Dagger and Arc Warden as well.
Oh, in they go. Okay, well, there's that Gleipnir doing some decent damage onto the Tiny. That'll force him away. Dragon will take down the tier 2 tower in his dying breath. And I would have liked to see Lilgun be a little bit more defensively postured. They have some really good wards in their own jungle, especially this one next to the outpost. They had TA traps in the area. I wouldn't have minded if they, like, tried to bait Drinkwater into retreating through the dire jungle, because then I think that would have been a decent fight setup for them. It's not going to happen here. Maybe it's still too risky with a minute left on Miracle's Aegis, so maybe it was the better choice. He's going to get his Gleipnir up, though. That's that'll be online relatively soon.
Lina?
Up on the Lina, yeah. She's already got a really good farm for it. It's an expensive recipe, but she's almost there.
Yeah, I agree. This is what I was a little bit afraid of, right? I feel like this is actually a very important power spike for Drinkwater.
I don't know. I feel like I'm not that scared until Pango has, like, Basher. He's going Blink first, which is still really good. But right now, like, the control is slightly limiting. So because if you need to, like, you can always RP the Rolling Thunder to just control him a little bit to make sure you're not getting completely destroyed. Not the ideal usage of it by any means, of course, but if it'll save your TA and Arc Warden, allowing them to reposition with their Blinks, like, it's definitely a play worth making. And Trill is going to go for a defensive item now. He's going to go ahead and upgrade that Dragon Lens into the Hurricane Pike. And I like that item quite a bit, just to give yourself a little bit of repositioning up and down cliffs if your Blink Dagger's on cooldown. Buy you a couple extra seconds for maybe Refraction to come back online. Could really make a big difference in these team fights for her. Yeah, these items are definitely coming online. There's Miracle. He's about to get his Gleipnir delivered.
Yep.
And it's going to be the Octarine core actually for 4-2-3, so just looking to reduce his cooldowns.
Radiant's bottom tower
This talent
is
on
under
Arc Warden got nerfed, didn't he? Used to have a 50% cooldown talent, or was it always 40? I feel like Ice Frog took another, he caught another stray here, this Arc Warden.
I also, yeah, I could swear it was 50.
Dire's top tower
Pretty sure it was 50. I'm pretty sure they nerfed it because of the ridiculous fountain farming that ended up happening with the Ag Scepter, because the Ag Scepter also got heavily nerfed.
Yes, that was the biggest one to me. Yeah, I think it was. It definitely used to be 50. Honestly, though, like, just at this point, if you're an Arc Warden player like myself, you just kind of resign. Every new patch is only a moment of pain. There's never any happiness during patch
It's
notes.
a big rune here, actually, especially because Drinkwater is smoked up. Magnus picking up that Invis rune. You see SE trying to break the smokes here. Will find himself at least one, but she does scout a couple of heroes. Not really the best opening, however, for the Mag to jump in. But this is going to be completely unexpected here for Drinkwater. So he's probably going to continue. It's already half gone. I could see a really good justification for forcing a fight here with this RP out of Invis. If they can just see a couple enemy heroes. 11, he might go for it.
He is in a good-ish position, but he's a little bit afraid that they have any sort of vision.
Yeah, it's so tempting.
There's still
isn't
have a dust on the Beastmaster, so he can't really...
And I think, once again, because he doesn't have BKB, the thing he's scared of is global silence, right? Because it would be so embarrassing if you just blink in, RP'd, and sure, maybe you catch 4 heroes, but if Silencer's not in there, you just get globaled, and your team, yeah, they can blink forward, but you're meant to be skewering them back at that stage.
Also, global is faster than RP as well.
Yeah.
So you can actually technically use it before the RP if he's fast enough
it's so
to press
risky.
the R. I will say as well that it's not just embarrassing, it would just be a straight up death for the Magnus, right? Which would be worse than being embarrassed here.
Well, sure, but what truly dies
He'd be
here?
mortified, huh, Richie?
Dota heroes or their egos, right?
Well, Arc Warden would say both.
That's true. The death of self.
The death of self. Every time the clone dies for Arc Warden, a little bit of him goes with it.
It's true.
He becomes a more humble human being.
It's true. It begs the question, how do TP scrolls work? Do they just, re-atomize you at that position? Because if that's the case, aren't you being reborn every single time you teleport?
Oh, that is actually a teleporter's paradox.
Yeah, exactly, right? Is that truly you at the other end of the teleporter?
I would argue that you're not being re-itemized. It's magic, so they're literally just... You never seen Dragon Ball? It's like instant transmission.
Oh, okay. That makes
You're
sense.
pushed up to the sky by an incredible gravitational force, and they push you back down, but so quickly that you don't notice anything.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
I'd like that. I'd like that better than
Explanation, right?
than fearing the death
self.
of your true self the first time you step into a teleporter.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a big fan of that.
Already
But if that was
Trillo.
the case, then I would really urge Elon Musk to try the first one.
Wow!
Anyway,
Well,
Black Bear,
and the Twitter
Kishka.
account's gone. Oh no, Avo.
Oh no! There's a flux on Kishka. We have an avalanche as well to Telekinesis. On top of this, they should be able to push him back. Another Gleipnir. There we go. 4-3 playing the utility Arc Warden.
He's dead.
And apparently the damage is lacking though. The damage is just a little bit lacking. Oh, that was embarrassing. Straight up missed the RP. Sorry, that was a little
no,
mean.
he's got the
That was
voice
a little mean. That was a
lines, too.
self-reference. Poor 11. He tried to get the RP. It was a really good blink. They avoided it. XC learn. He's now trying to continue this fight knowing there is no RP, but we still have the skewer available. They can still punish this poor Pango. He has a swashbuckle in a second, and they were waiting for him. Redemption, but the global science is here. 11's life just becoming more and more difficult. The shockwave's attempted, but the blink dagger's ready. And Drinkwater just plays around with Lil Gun.
Is that the first global of the game?
No.
Okay.
I think they used one earlier.
Oh no, they're not going to be able to get away. Stole an avalanche
Nope.
here. They've got the Tinker Ward set up. Just not a good fight for Drinkwater, honestly. The way that started off was just kind of a pick off onto a Tiny that turned into heroes just kind of throwing themselves in exchange for supports. It was not ideal. I think you look at these two lineups, and now that, well, first of all, this isn't a core Tiny. So his Blink Dagger was fairly late. And if it's not going to be a toss-back play, your pick-off is just not good, I think, this game.
Yep.
Unless Lena's there, none of these heroes, I think, can solo pick off as easily as, say, an Arc Warden can, or a TA can now, especially with Crystallis online. I don't think that's the kind of engagement that Drinkwater are looking for, especially with like global silence. Like you're using Rolling Thunder for that play. Like they're big team fight abilities, you know. You're not really meant to use them for these solo pick-off plays. Onto supports at that.
I will say on that fight, though, to also correct myself a little bit, like, 11 has a lot of pressure because he has to deal with the global silence we've already mentioned. He has to deal with a couple of ranged heroes. It's hard for him. But just his existence puts so much pressure on Drinkwater, who clearly has less team fight, as you mentioned, right? Like, you have good pickoff potential and some abilities, and Rolling Thunder is kind of decent. But when you're dealing with a Magnus that can always RP and skewer, if you global silence a little bit off, Magnus is the biggest threat this fight. Like, what do you do as Drinkwater?
Yep.
It's difficult.
And now he's got BKB, so his game's a lot easier. He didn't have BKB in that jump, like, and that's why it's so difficult, right? It is, I mean, first of all, Magnus is not like flavor of the month hero. I don't think he's all that amazing, honestly. I'm not really convinced about how strong this hero is in the meta. So props to Lilgun for picking it, especially for picking it kind of out of position. You know, he did get hard countered twice, basically, as soon as he got picked up. So his game's hard, right? Obviously, he was expecting more heroes up on the high ground at that stage, considering the positioning of the spark rates and whatnot. But yeah, difficult jump for him to make. And now a good old toilet bowl smoke gank. Oh, hold on.
What does that mean?
Oh, it's when they smoke and they go around in a circle. This time counterclockwise.
Oh, right. Yeah, in Australia they do it the opposite way, right? Because the southern hemisphere. Yeah.
The Borealis
I feel like we've
effect.
said this before.
It's true. It's one of my go-to jokes.
Oh, okay. It's my go-to answer, I guess.
It is.
Drinkwater will keep the high ground as Lilgun tries to take over the enemy triangle, but they're not as interested in the high ground. I think they acknowledge that they're stronger in teamfight at least, so they're a little bit more loose with their positioning. And they should go for a tower. Yeah, okay. Lilgun is taking more advantage of this toilet bowl smoke.
Yeah, because the tier 2 tower is already gone for Drinkwater, so they just have map positioning now, which is pretty good for Roche, definitely, as they do control the outpost, so not necessarily too bad of a jump.
Yeah, Gleitner still, right? Oh, no, they used it to begin with, and the other Arc Warden is a little bit too far. Trill, though, he's close enough not to start hitting, but they need some help. In comes 11. There we go. First skewer. No need to do anything but skewer him forward.
This is not a great position to be Drinkwater.
From Miracle, and it's going to be Ace who goes down. The clone from 423 also falls. That's kind of important. Laguna Blade not wasted for that. Now the Arc Warden feels only half as strong.
They need to get this D ward. Yeah, really good movement there. Silencer on top of his A game right there. They could not have any vision right now from TA in this area. Otherwise, with Lilgun having control over the Dire outpost and you underneath one of their wards, that would have been a disastrous setup for Roche for Radiant. It's not what you want. That's about even though. Of course, Dire still having a little bit more of an advantage, even if they have moved this outpost a little bit further back. Well, that ward's gone now. Will make things slightly more difficult for Drinkwater to get a good fight off, especially if they lose the Beastmaster. But I think this is a little bit too difficult. Oh, 11, he's closing.
Zeal, yeah, he's going to die to 11. Really good skewer here. There's the silence. We have already used the Greaves as well, but we still have BKB on 11, but he doesn't get it off in time, which means C and 11 both die. Trill in trouble. He also falls, and it seems like Drinkwater just baited them with Zeal's positioning. Very clever. Now they go for the Roche. Okay, they go for the Roche here, as Drinkwater sees an opportunity that they created themselves. Miracle might be a little bit too strong. Arc Warrior not really part of that fight either. And the TA started to reach a limit as well, as the late game is just a little bit better for heroes with higher range.
Gonna be Aegis and Shard. I think they've given it to Silencer. Really? Fascinating. Does everyone else have Shard?
I guess so. Tiny doesn't, but doesn't really care. It's worse, actually. Linus is terrible. And Beastmaster has it. Yeah, I guess Hanser's the third best Shard.
Okay.
Occasionally, you might be able to silence someone.
It's true. Yeah, didn't go for treads and doesn't have the dragon lines. So I still wouldn't really mind giving this to Kishka, considering Kishka farms a bit better and might actually conceivably get an Axe after this game. But yeah, I don't mind giving it to the Silencer for now. It's fine. I support charity.
Yeah, the Nordstrom charity. From Chad to a charity. Case. MKB on the Lina is also a huge is item, as this now allows you to deal with the magnetic field, which is probably Lina's biggest issue this game. And this is where this whole idea of 4-2-3 play this early, like really catch heavy Arc Warden falls off a little bit, because even though you were really good and really active, because of that lull that you had in the mid game, you couldn't really utilize this build to the best of its ability. And now you're in a moment where a single carry is out carrying both of yours.
Yeah, I think what was really nice actually that I have to commend Exilern's build for is that he's simply just going for control. He's got Octarine Core now on his Pangolier, reducing his Rolling Thunder cooldown significantly, of course. Probably going to take that 25 talent. I'm not sure right now what the Pango 25 talent status is, but didn't end up going for the Basher because he's just looking to set up this Lina in his fights, looking to set up the Tiny, right? Because Miracle, he's got the damage, he's got the right kind of items this game. He's got damage for the team, right? And with Global to cover him in that specific instance that we just saw, I mean, the setup is really all that he needs, and really good job from Exilern.
Yep. Exilern, yes. I like the Basher still as a later item, right? Like, I think Octarine Core is better earlier, but then now get Basher because it synergizes well with your Ags, right? And your Swashbuckle, and it still gives you catch, which is useful, especially against BKBs. But right now, when the only hero that you really need to deal with in terms of BKB is truly the TA. Perhaps now the Magnus, as his BKB hasn't been used yet, but it wasn't his inventory last fight, the Basher becomes much more valuable. Now he's got Travels, and I would assume that would be his last item, changing the Orbital Corrosion for that Basher that you mentioned.
Yep. Yeah, Basher is still, I think, nice to build into eventually, especially because like Abyssal this game can be really powerful, of course, right? Because you can cast it mid-roll, which always looks really funny. But most importantly, it's effective control, right? And then, of course, with your 4-way Swashbuckle that you now have and the Shield Crash now, it's good. It's just good to have, but I like the way that he's prioritized his items. Miracle is really close to Satanic already. Really surprised at how much Lilgun... I mean, I know they're up against Aegis, but I do feel like they've been probably a bit too passive in the past couple of minutes. I think going for that skewer play back and then getting the silence like really all of a sudden sucks all the air out of the room for them here. They don't really seem like they have a lot of plays to make anymore with how far ahead Lina's found herself. It's I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is one of those games where you need to kill the Lina, because unlike, you know, a Medusa or a Morphling, like, you can easily burst her for sure. But to me, it's more of an issue of, well, is the rest of her team going to save her?
That was such a good Stormcrafter. Oh boy, Miracle though might still die because they still put him in an awkward position and nobody in this team decided to help him. They all trusted Miracle to just get away alone, and now he might be in trouble. Light Strike Array hits him. That was from the Rubik, of course. Miracle gets hit by a single stack of Impetus Bats enough, and XC Learn goes in to try to cover his escape. This time the help will be there. Krishka has been caught though by the Arc Ward and Cologne. Can they turn this into a kill? No, they're too afraid to come out of the base.
Yep, I mean, that's a good pickoff. You could actually now act. You can input actions during Horn Toss. So with the Stormcrafter, like, Lina's never going to get caught there unless the skewer's like instant. But after Horn Toss, it's going to be just a little bit too easy. I actually thought there was another instance of Kishka already buying his Wind Waker, whatever.
Yes,
but was not the case here.
He is not a Zelda game. Oh, they found Kishka. And this time the Horn Toss will be successful.
Yeah.
He is going to fall, but at the expense perhaps of someone else's 11 and put himself in a difficult position. They just punished him thanks to that Primal Roar. C as well dies here, but they've caught Trill. And look at this Pango just keeping Trill in place. In fact, killing him almost solo. With a little bit of help from the Lina there. So much damage from the Pango. Was very impressed thanks to that 15 talent of 3-second shield crash and ball.
They're just not team fighting like at all for Lilgun, unfortunately. It's just kind of the reality of it. We haven't really seen a single team fight from them this game. They've gone for pickoffs, but besides that one RP in the river at like minute 12, this is all we've seen from them. They're just kind of getting ran at, it feels like.
Tiny. Okay, he's been hexed. Turned into a piglet. Tiny did bite back, so at least they could punish this one, but Kishka, he knows how to play with his HP. He's only baiting them. Miracle also going to heal back up thanks to Satanic. Now turned into a pig as well. Arc Ward lacking a little bit of damage though. Yeah. Much more utility than damage right now. Here's the help from the Enchantress though, and that's going to help out a little bit. But Rubik instead will die as Miracle activates his BKB. He's going to TP back up, and XD Learn once again with Retreat Rolling Thunder. It seems to be his main role this game.
This is a desperately mad hold. I think you're happy with this. I think you're happy with this now.
You are.
Really good hold from 4-2-3. You can see though, he's a spellcaster. He's not a right clicker. So those right clicks were really pitiful. I think this hero like has It's a decent agi game, but not a ton of stats that he's built here. So his attack speed wasn't really all that much to write home about, especially with the AC aura that Miracle has, reducing his attack speed further. Like, it's tough. It was a really good defense, but they really need TA to do like the physical damage in these fights. 4-2-3 is only able to hold because BKBs were already expended, but that could have been a really scary moment, honestly.
Yeah. I feel like Drinkwater, though, is playing... well, the hold is really strong because you have an Arc Warden and a TA, and I think an Enchantress also, I would argue, is a very strong, like, high ground team. I would say that Drinkwater is playing this so well and so patient that it's very difficult. There's no openings for them, right? Even when they, like, the moment they misstep a little bit, like Miracle did just there, they always have a contingency plan to make sure that Miracle can get away. Because they know he's the carry, right, of all things.
Yes. Well, I will say after that fight and now having Basher, I'm a little bit more convinced of XC Learn's capabilities at maybe carrying this game a little bit here. Basically, just killed the TA solo. Didn't have Blink because she blinked in and then used Hurricane Pike to force herself away once she was globaled. Pardon me, and saw the Pango coming. And then she was just chain stunned and killed. Could not get off BKB even. And it just can't be the case. I mean, obviously, you're never going to win fights if you're stunned for the whole time, but this TA's got a lot of money. She had a really, really smooth early game. Oh, no, and that's the difficulty of playing Magnus this game.
Enchantress, okay, found. Miracle, patches her, and that's going to be a dead Enchantress as well. No Magnus means you lost the team fight here for this next high ground defense. It's going to be much harder, and you, more importantly, don't present the threat now for Drinkwater.
Yeah, I don't know. This is now getting to be a little bit unplayable, unfortunately. The roar being used. BKB was not committed there, maybe for the best, but he doesn't have buyback, so this is at least a lane of barracks.
Okay, that's a dead clone as well.
Yeah, they just farmed that thing up.
Okay, at least magnetic fields give you a little bit more time, but that's the last magnetic field you'll be able to use. Lina already putting herself in position to make sure that they can't keep defending these racks. Their Miracle goes again. No fiery soul stacks though, which is why he's attacking so slowly. Are they really going to retreat?
This is still winnable. I mean, they're scared of this TA. They're scared of this Magnus. They don't have another wave for a while, and they know, especially with this Octarine core on Arc Warden, he can really just drag this game out. I really think this game is still very winnable for Lil Gun. They just need to get that one correct fight. Right now, it's not coming together, and it's a hard game for the Magnus. So maybe your best bet is to not start the team fight around him, because it almost seems like you're sending him to just die every time. Like, I don't know. But then,
yeah, sure.
It'd be like just sending you through like an American Ninja Warrior course. Like, you can't. It's too difficult.
I disagree. I would be the best American Ninja Warrior. Have you seen my hand-eye coordination?
I have.
Yeah.
It's just such a daunting task for 11. Like, there's a chance he gets it right eventually, but you really can't afford to get too many fights wrong at this stage. Especially because you look at your buyback situation, and it's not that great. It's only the TA and it's only this TA and not Lil Gun and 423, pardon me, who have it.
I mean, I'm with you that just send the clone in, right? Like, I feel like that's a better time, especially because Arc Warden is itemized in that way. You know, he really does not offer any sort of use beyond the catch that he offers. With
they need a bit of vision. Rubik can act as some counter initiation, but obviously he's not going to be good enough versus a Pangolier. And that's really a big problem for Lil Gun.
This smoke would be incredible for Drinkwater. They're putting the team in a really bad position. They have control of the high ground as well, but XT Learn, he's stuck. Doesn't seem to matter. 11's already dead. That's the big team fight gone. And now the TA is the second target. Beautiful Primal Roar. Trill's down. They got the Clone just for good measure. Now they got the Rubik as well. Global silence plus the Gleipnir. No need for the silence, but it was a celebration one. And that will stop Enchantress's TP. Arc Warden still left alive, so he still has the defense of the magnetic fields, and he can still push out waves, but that is not going to be enough without his teammates.
No, not nearly, unfortunately. I think, regrettably, it's just the positioning from Lil Gun as a whole, you know, is just not cutting it in these team fights. Drinkwater are kind of just running them over in every fight. TA's never finding a good opportunity to use her BKB, and fair enough in that instance. Like, even if she BKBs, she gets roared, and Lina kills her in 2 seconds anyway, BKB or not. Like, they're just not finding the right places to fight, and it's something they're going to need to look at in the replay here if they want to improve. Next to learn. Gonna try and, well, actually the Zet's not gonna die. Oh, good damage though out from that TA. That's 2 lanes of barracks though, gone just like that.
One lane of barracks left. Defending that is easier, so that's the one advantage that they gained. You don't need to worry yourself about split pushing, because that's going to happen naturally.
I think this, by the way, this Arc Warden has just bought Overwhelming Blink, so he does not have buyback. Just not a crazy move, considering Trill's just been forced to buy back as well.
I think it was one life is useless, to be honest, so
yeah.
you might as well buy the
blink.
No,
agreed, right? But I mean, just to show you, this is really all that Lilgun have left now, and they're going to lose this Roche. It was third Roche, which came with what now? I don't see... Refresher Shard. It's on the Silencer, pardon me.
All right, Miracle. He got caught by the Gleipnir, doesn't care. No, the Hex. Just a bunch of annoyances. They're seeing if they can see an opportunity against Miracle, but he still has the BKB and Satanic and Aegis.
Yeah. Yeah, he is strong. He's also holding
like
on to
lives.
this Trickster's Cloak, which is just good for him to conserve his BKB charge, because it gives you a lot of magic resist, actually. Oh, okay. It's a decent jump.
Yeah.
Can't really find a good opening here. It's so hard, this game, for them.
XC Learn is just going to go in, Primal Roar, ready? The Hex, the TA already. Great RP!
Great RP.
Stops the Rolling Thunder. Now TA can hit, but she's doing nothing. She's actually doing nothing. The Bashers, the Primal Roars, her BKB slowly ending. The second Global Silence on top of this. This TA has been handled. They just need one more hit, and that's going to do the trick. Goodbye to the main carry. Trill's dead. They lack the damage. Is most likely game as Magnus also falls. Arc Warden annoying them to the very end, but having not much impact as C dies as well and calls it GG.
Yeah, and yeah, that's truly it. Unfortunately, this draft not really working out for them. It never felt like they felt pressure to fight into them, and to be honest, I agreed with them. I agreed they didn't really need to fight into them. It seemed like that second Aegis was really where things kind of spiraled out of control for them. Miracle just got all the items they needed. I think the aura items that this Beastmaster had as well made fights, as you could see towards the end of that game, about impossible for TA to have any sort of impact in there. Because it's not like TA didn't have items. She was not the richest hero on her team, of course, because there's an Arc Warden, but she felt like she had items, but it just didn't add up to very much damage at all of this game. That was rough. That was real rough for Lilgun.
Look, I was saying it in the mid game, right? I think they need to fight. I think they're stronger. I think that they couldn't... Like, you just can't go for this kind of build in Arc Warden and just play this passively. At first, sure, you get all the farm you want on TA, you want to give her space. Like, I'm down for that, right? But there is a moment where I'm starting to see the Arc Warden going from Gleipnir into more utility, like the Ultra Core, skipping the Ags altogether. Yeah, I know the Ags got heavily nerfed, and it's not half as good now. I agree. But at the same time, where's your damage? Like you gotta find some damage. Whether it is you deviate into Bloodthorn, which is a utility with a little more damage, or whether it is you deviate into, just straight up Daedalus, something like that, like Silver Edge, whatever it is, to have a break but also bring some damage. I don't really care what happens, but you can't just rely on the TA. TA is a carry that traditionally gets outclassed in the late game, and we saw that. Like, he was doing absolutely nothing to the Pango in the last fight. And I feel like maybe they just got a little bit too comfortable with these two cores and forgot the fact that Lina is a late game core as well.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely the most convincing late game Lina I've ever seen, but to be fair, she kind of just free farmed for what felt like 40 minutes and then eventually started really just running at Lilgun at every instance. I also really want to commend Exilern's Pangolier throughout the entire game. I thought he was really, really crucial in these team fights. I think without such impactful jumps from him, as well as Zeal, of course, who is a god tier Beastmaster, I think this game's much, much more difficult for Lina. Towards the end of this game, I felt like Lina was pretty much... She could just run wherever she wanted in these fights, and the team would cover her. With Lilgun, it never felt the same. It always felt like TA was always surrounded by exactly the wrong heroes.
This is an incredible fight. Yes, I completely agree with you. I do feel like the whole team did incredibly well, but Tango and so Zeal and XT Learn particularly stood out, right? With their team fighting. Yeah, I thought it was impressive how they covered themselves.
There's the 4 staff away, and this is just Trill dying. And this is why, I don't know, maybe you're right. Maybe they did not need to use this Magnus whatsoever for his catch, and he just needed to be a little bit more of a protector, but that also felt like severely limiting when you kind of
but then you can't build a hero like that. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think that's the Magnus' fault at all. I actually feel like 11 played to the best of his ability, but it just Drinkwater had more team fight as the game went on, and they also had a very clear roles. Interestingly enough, we talked about it, this was a stack, right? They were not a team, and obviously we're expecting less coordination, but really good individual plays. And as the tournament goes on, I feel like this team has shown more coordination than both YG and Lilgun.
Sure.
Also Spawn team.
Yeah, I'd agree. And you can see the fights are just impossible. It's just TA. I mean, she's even disarmed here for good measure towards the end. But just an impossible game. It felt like for Lilgun, as soon as they passed, probably around like the 35-minute mark, it felt like that one Roshan really dictated the entire pace of the game. I also felt like Lilgun never got to contest a Rosh, which is kind of surprising considering they have a TA, right?
Yep,
like
it's true,
with meld strikes. I do think there was probably some action that they could have forced around the pit. It's scary fighting a Pango around Roche pit, but also you have a mag, right? You have Arc Warden. You're fighting in these constrained choke points. It feels like that's where you're best suited to fight. And they just couldn't propose it. They just never found the right time to make the move.
Yeah, we're gonna see if second game is a little bit better for Lilgun. Perhaps try a different strategy. Honestly, maybe not that very sold on the Arc Warden. Personally, even though I know it's one of 423's heroes. But we're gonna have to see as we take a small break and wait for game number 2 to begin. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SDA Closed Qualifiers. We are here with Richie. Why are you laughing?
Look at my cat. She's back there.
Can you bring her on stream?
She's already on stream. You can see her.
Can you grab her on stream?
I will grab the cat. Yes. Come here.
Winter is the mascot of the SDA Closed Qualifiers. We had a caster named Winter, some people know, but more importantly, we have this cat. And this cat actually decides who gets to make it through. If Winter does not like Drinkwater will not make it through to Division 2. So
no, let me tell you, Winter, she loves drinking water. She drinks so much water for sure.
I hear Winter's a big fan of Zeal because he plays Beastmaster, right?
Is that true? Is that true? No, she likes Slark because she likes fish. She likes chasing her little
that makes
fish
sense.
toys.
Oh, Naga Siren, right? Miracle.
That's right.
That
Naga
makes
Siren.
sense.
Yes,
that makes sense. Winter, what was your favorite Miracle build?
What's that? Winter, what's that? She says Radiance. She says she likes Radiance.
This cat's been approved for Dota. All right. Winter, what a star panelist we have here. I have had worst experiences with most pro players than with Winter. Anyway, we are going to go and start with game number 2, Lil Gun versus Drinkwater. Drinkwater is 1 game up. Lil Gun looked a little bit distracted, perhaps, a little bit it wasn't bad.
There wasn't a fire under them. There wasn't a fire under them. No. I would say that game, right? Like this game now, hopefully, obviously being down 1 game, they'll be spurred into action because it just felt like they were waiting around. They just kept waiting and waiting and waiting. And they were just like, 11, go. And it's like, well, what do you expect them to do this game? Like, it was so difficult for him.
I got to give it to 11, though. I think he played a pretty good game considering the situation. I think he was their best player.
Exactly. And he went for it, and you got to respect that, right? Like, the game was really hard for him. We highlighted all the difficulties he had. They picked him out of position, right? They picked him first pick in the second phase, and he immediately got countered twice. Like, and then they were like, make the plays. You know, it was really hard. It didn't really feel like Lil Gun was overall playing as a team, more so kind of trying to get 11 to set themselves up for a victory. And Magnus just is not that kind of hero right now, I would say. I think if we're looking at TI 10, maybe, right? In that kind of era with the Magnus, maybe. But not against this kind of
even then, though, the Magnus did more than just like Magnus had help. Right? Like, I know people talk about Colossus Magnus as if he solo won the games for Team Spirit. I don't think it's true at all. I think there was the whole team behind that was incredible. Not to, again, fault Lil Gun, but because of the heroes they played, there was one moment where they just felt like they couldn't do anything. Magnus got an incredible RP. TA starts hitting, and then, the Pango is immune to physical damage somehow. Like, you know, it just felt pretty bad. And that was not, again, their fault. It was more the fact that it just took too long for them to get online. And we'll see if the strategy for second game is any better for them.
I like this adjustment in the bans. I wonder if Drinkwater then are going to pick up the Nyx Assassin here because they also really like the Tiny for Kishka. So that's
Dire team pick.
some consideration. Or the Tusk, actually, because Tusk is usually first phased against them as well. So Drinkwater will pick that first overall. I think that's a phenomenal first pick. There's nothing wrong with this hero. You can play him mid. You can just as easily take him 4.
Yep. I think the hero really suits the Drinkwater playstyle, whereas I think a lot of teams just kind of pigeonhole the Tusk and then go, we have a really weak Tusk 4. I feel like Drinkwater works really well with this hero because they have a very active carry, probably the most active carry I would say of these SCA qualifiers. So I have no problem with this hero for Drinkwater. Lil Gun, they steal the Tiny. Fair enough, honestly. That's probably Kishka's best hero, and he still played incredibly well on that hero.
Yeah, even if last game he wasn't really the star playmaker, that's because the pace of the game wasn't really right for it. I think he still played a great game, as you say. Lil Gun, go back to this bench. That's really interesting. I'm a bit surprised by this, because again, it might be set up to be countered. You've also already banned the Beastmaster, and I don't know, I guess we didn't see Beastmaster exactly ball out of control last game, but he didn't really need to, as Drinkwater will go right back into the Lina, so Miracle may be taking this hero carry that is, for a second time, a little bit of an encore performance.
Okay. I'm just not a fan of the Lina carry, but it has been successful these qualifiers. And last game they played really well, so I'll
put your personal feelings aside.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
I got you.
I'll try to be objective. I feel like I liked it more when XC Learn was playing it because I feel like Lina mid, again, does the same thing as Lina carry, but just better. But I think it's fine that you have the option to flex it. And that's why Lil Gun still bans the Doom, which is the Miracle hero.
It is the Miracle hero, yeah. Banning out just some good hero counters into the Lina. I think Faceless Void would have been a really good solution here, but obviously he's already taken out. Still plenty of heroes, though, for Lil Gun to consider here. Once again, opening up with their support duo, it would seem. between this tiny Ench. Still could be
10 seconds remaining.
tiny core, I guess. It wouldn't be like that crazy, but more than likely, I think it'll end up getting flexed into that support role here fairly shortly. Something else that I wouldn't mind seeing is just a little bit of an easier draft to execute on for Lilgun, being down 1-0, you know. I'd like to see something that's kind of like not necessarily a combo, but more than one way to just simply initiate. Right now, already, it's looking pretty good with a Tiny. At some stage, he'll get a blink. Even if he's core, even if he's support, he'll be jumping in, trying to put Lina out of position. And that's already like one way to start fights. And they've only got 2 heroes picked up. So they'll probably get a couple more conditions to start off these fights. And I think that's going to be really, really good for them here as the draft continues.
Yeah, we'll see. Lilgun, I think last time it was the 2 picks in the second phase that kind of like threw the draft off a little bit because they were both a little bit weird. I was when the Arc Warden and the Magnus came out, right? So we'll see what the combo is this time. I feel like they have a stronger second pick and they also have last pick this time. So I am particularly interested in the 15th or this 5th pick, right? You could argue.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That was like really crucial last game for Lilgun. They have last pick again, and I think this is where their game became a bit hard. This time they go with a Hoodwink, so I think it's going to be a core Tiny. This is already really good though. Avatos into a buffed by a little bit more magic damage. That's the Sharpshooter is going to be really great. Plus you have the furry creatures of nature coming out against Tusk and Lina.
With furry creatures of nature.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure, yeah, go ahead, sorry. I just thought it was interesting that you said that.
That's what they are, right?
Yeah, the furry creatures of nature, I agree. I'm glad that you had it of nature, because obviously they could be from, outer space or something like that.
Yeah, they could be from Reddit, too.
Okay, all right. What position are they going to be played in, though?
I think this is a mid-tiny, a 4 Hoodwink, and probably a 5-inch.
Not very sold on losing the flex to the Tiny. I think Hoodwink mid has to be a possibility.
It's also a really interesting matchup, Hoodwink and Tree Protector. Not only for the lore implications, of course, but also because they both really want to heavily use these trees in lane. I think this is actually a matchup that I'm trying to remember, because this is also what the heck is going on in this draft.
Are they just theming?
This is a themed draft. This is
okay.
This is exactly what.
What other tree heroes are there left in the game?
Timbersaw.
Oh my gosh! No way! They're doing this on purpose.
Oh my goodness.
Interesting.
But I do want to talk a little bit more about this Tree Hoodwink matchup, and maybe I'll get to do so more in lane. But this one has some really neat interactions because they're both heroes that want to use trees, I think, if I can remember correctly, this is one that Tree Protector does fairly well in. If only because when he does get on top of Hoodwink, when there's no trees around, he actually does a fairly decent job. That was with old Treant, though. That was with Treant that maxed Nature's Grasp in lane.
Yes,
I can't imagine, though. I don't know. I can't imagine going for the Leech Seed versus a ranged hero that's really fast is any better, but we'll see.
Okay, I have another point that we made. First, it's Hoodwink Timbersaw, obviously anti-synergy, very heavy anti-synergy.
Yes.
These heroes do not work well together. Unlike Mars and Hoodwink, but if you play properly, you can work well with each other. Hoodwink Timbersaw do not, because he just cuts down the trees. Like, there's just no question about it. Some people go, oh, but you can Acorn Shot and Timbersaw can Timber Chain to the tree. Yeah, that one instance, right, of utility. I don't love these heroes together. Their laning is also a little bit weak. The only good thing about Timbersaw with Hoodwink and lane is that Hoodwink is allowed to rotate, right? Because Timbersaw tends to solo. But here's the other problem that I was going to mention, which is Timbersaw is garbage, Richie. Like hot pile of steaming garbage. This new reactive armor essentially depends on the enemy carry being stupid. And if the enemy carry is not stupid, then you're fine. That's how it works, essentially. Because the creeps now don't give you any, it only gives you half the stacks, right? And it literally, well, assume that it's half the stacks. It technically gives you 1 stack and heroes give you 2, but because the value changes, it's half the value for creeps, which means Timbersaw getting max stacks is super difficult. So as long as you put any sort of carry with any magical damage, which I would hope that you actually put Lina here to destroy Timbersaw, and you combine it with any sort of magical source of damage like Trim Protector, or honestly even Tusk at this point with Ice Shard Snowball, the hero really struggles to stay in lane, and he most definitely cannot solo versus 2, and he most definitely cannot dive towers and kill your hero at level 6 like he used to, right? So this hero feels really weak right now, and I'm very surprised that Logan is still picking it. His pub win rate is abysmal right now.
Yeah, I'm also kind of curious.
I also don't see the purpose in general, right?
I also don't see the purpose. That's kind of my thing. I think his lane's probably really difficult versus Lina. It has to be one of his worst matchups, I'd imagine. Like this range, magic, heavy dealing core, right? I guess most laning Linas go, not laning Linas, most farming Linas, they go for like 1-1-3. So like the magic damage is a bit more minimized and they tend to harass a little bit more with right clicks. Maybe that is going to be the thought process here. But other than that, I do agree with you, especially with this Tusk matchup. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. Also, really excited to see Zeal here on the Nature's Prophet, to be quite honest with you. I think he's a really, really good Nature's Prophet. He does play super active around the map, so expect to see some early rotations to destabilize a couple, of these lanes as the last final bans are coming through. And that is the answer to Timber, isn't it?
Yes. I would say it's probably the hardest hero to deal with as Timber, especially now with the Bloodstone Lash, because Timber also doesn't have, like, he has damage, right? But it's more about consistent bursts of damage rather than one big burst, which Lash loves because Bloodstone just heals him back up, right? So now it's actually the antithesis of Timber. You also deal with Enchantress really well. Tiny can struggle sometimes at dealing with you because tossing back a Lash doesn't always mean win. It sometimes means initiation for the Lash, right? Because he just gets a bunch of heals, especially if it's BKB. I like this draft so much by Drinkwater, and I feel like Lilgun has so many holes to fix. They need a carry that can solo carry this game. I like the sniper pick personally.
They also lack team fight.
I mean, they lack almost everything.
Yeah,
I feel like...
I know. To me, that's like a big... Like, team fight is always, I think, a way you can get yourself back into the game just because it gives you so many different avenues to outplay your opponent, right? In team fights, getting the right initiation, finding a pick off on the even team fight, stuff like that, right? Fighting around objectives. And that's something that they're highly lacking here, too. So
you could... in that right vein, you could Gyrocopter, and it probably gives you the most out of everything, right? Yeah. Gyrocopter Luna is what I'm thinking about, because they're ranged heroes. They can somewhat deal with Lina. They have long... Okay, this is definitely not it.
Yeah, I'm also curious. I guess the thought is we need to hold down either Lina or Lesh in these fights and move the fight away from them. So, like, Rupture, maybe?
So he used to be the strongest hero against Lesh, right? Because Lesh was all about moving around.
Exactly,
right?
Yeah.
But now with Bloodstone, I feel like that's changed a lot because Bloodseeker struggles against heroes that can hold their ground. Like, if you think of Medusa, Sven, like, these heroes are the heroes that Bloodseeker loses to. So I don't know, man. Like, I feel like the draft for Lilgun is a very tough draft.
I agree. I think maybe they can try and snowball this, but I think the Timbers lane is really hard, to be honest. And I think he is pretty crucial at popping off in this game. I wouldn't say it's impossible for him, for sure. Because, again, I do believe... I didn't check Miracle's build last game, but I do believe that the build is 1-1-3, which means that at least he is going to be getting a lot more reactive armor stacks and taking a lot less magic damage. You can see this in graphs, can't you? Somewhere with their skill builds, I thought. Oh, it's on the scoreboard.
Oh, right. Yeah. You do max fire yourself first. Yeah, 100%. However, this game, you could actually opt to go for Light Strike Array first if you really felt like this lane was getting out of you. So...
Yeah, that's what I mean, though. It does feel like Drinkwater have options, right, to minimize this. Wrath of Nature is a huge amount of magic damage. X-Learn can always rotate away with a sneaky TP, and he is going to be able to just basically kill Timber any single time he looks to get aggressive, and really, really destabilize that game. I also have to agree. I have to favor Drinkwater in this game, to be honest.
Yeah. There's also the point as well that, like, the issue with reactive armor is not just the lane, right? The lane already feels a little bit bad, but the real issue is Timbers, at least in the mid game, when you still don't have items, you used to do this thing where you would go into the jungle, grab a bunch of reactive armor stacks, and then initiate, right? And then you'd be tanky enough that nobody could beat you. Now that's no longer possible. Like, it takes too long if you want to do it, right? So if you want to make those kind of plays, it really limits your mid-game potential, and then that's when Lesh really comes to play and destroys you. I just feel like there's a lot of issues that you have to solve.
Agreed. And it doesn't feel very easy, this game, either, for them. I don't know. It might happen. I think one thing that can definitely fall apart here for Drinkwater is that this NP and Lina and Lesh do feel a little bit greedy. These are three heroes that definitely want items, and they want them basically as soon as they can get them. Maybe the NP can be sacrificed a bit more, and you can just throw him to the wolves and make him take the super dangerous farm. But it's going to be hard, man. It's going to be hard, I think, for Lilgun. They need to apply pressure wherever they sense weakness, and they need to get those engagements right. Maybe then they can spook Drinkwater off a little bit from this early game. Otherwise, like, they have a really, really good death ball here, I could see, coming from Drinkwater. They siege extremely well. They fight extremely well. It's a good draft.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. It's also a draft that I feel like has a couple of what is it? Comfort picks, right? Lesh for XC Learn is one of his best heroes, and you already mentioned Zio and his incredible Nature's Prophet, right? There's a reason why he's level 30. But we've already seen a little bit of this. I don't know about Kishka Tusk. I feel like I've seen him on Tusk a fair amount of times. I think it suits his playstyle, but I don't know if I would. It pops to mind like Zio's Nature's Prophet, and RR used to be a beast on the Trim Protector back in the day. He used to be one of the best Filipino Trim Protectors.
The battle begins.
So it's not like they're unfamiliar with these heroes or this kind of style or this draft or anything. Not saying that Logan is not comfortable, but I don't think this comfort is as valuable.
Mm-hmm. We'll see here what they're going to try and deal with. Interestingly enough, I don't know if I saw this last game as well, but the Ench coming to lane with a fluffy hat, so just a little bit more raw HP for her.
Yeah, I guess against Tusk you probably need it, because Tusk can easily burst you, especially with MP. I mean, this is another thing, right? Bloodseeker usually wins his lane as a carry, but this is one of the few lanes where you might be able to kill him. Like, tag team plus Nature's Prophet's just auto attacks. Pretty brutal.
Seems fairly strong, yeah. Especially because like you don't really care about the early levels in Bloodright, right? When you can just kind of tank it. Of course,
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
the Bloodright already taken.
I mean, you're gonna avoid it. There's two options, right, in this lane for the Bloodright. You either snowball and avoid it like that, or you just ignore it, like you said.
Yeah, I could see level 2 being like a key turning point. Like kind of bait them into going for an aggressive Bloodright. Hopefully you even get the enchant out, and then you turn with snowballs, activate tag team when you reach your point, and hopefully kill them. Because you can pull in these treants as well, actually.
Yeah, it's true.
By the way, Zeal's also named his treants, but it's promoting a Facebook page, so let's not. I don't know what Facebook page it is.
Don't worry, I'm on it, Richie. You continue casting. I'm gonna find.
There's another Bloodright. You can see he's just gonna sacrifice the treants here a little bit. Does force Kishka to be a little bit more aggressive. As they continue to be a little bit more aggressive. Do like it. I do love when they name the summons though. It's such like a. It just shows that they really care, you know.
I actually cannot find it. I'll be honest with you.
Okay, well, with no harm clicking on it then. But yeah, he's named the treants some Facebook page. I don't know what that is.
I found a singer, a Maple Story player, which I'm inclined to believe might be that.
He's probably yeah. Lots of Dota players they play Maple Story.
Lots of SCA Dota players are Maple Story fans. Yeah.
Oh goodness, gotta love the Maple Story players.
I never got to play. I was too old. I was too young, sorry.
Beware of forest fires, tree.
What a build Kish could go for. Okay, only 1 point knife shards yet. No tag team. Okay, so they don't want to play this aggressively. Bloodseeker does have a high armor, so you have to be a little bit careful with that. Maybe that's why, as well. And the Enchantress is being a real nuisance. I do think you still kill him, but maybe level 3 on Tusk with 2 points in tag team. That's why he's saving 1 point. Doesn't know if he has to snowball or tag team.
You can see, I think this level 2 is really difficult right now for Timber as well down bottom. Miracle forcing out the saddle from 11. There's a big wave here, though. 11 very quickly going to get up to max stacks of reactive armor, but he's going to be needing probably this next point in reactive. I'm surprised he went for the first point in Whirling Death. I thought maybe this would be like a Timber Chain reactive armor kind of lane for him, but to be honest, I haven't seen Timbers installed on that. Maybe this is just the norm now.
No, it isn't. I think the reason why he goes for it is because he feels like he has to be able to outlast it, the Lina and the Trent, particularly Trent because he denies easily, right? So Whirling Death at least secures you some last hits early so they don't deny everything off it. I don't think it's a bad option, honestly. It's not like they're going to kill you either. There's not much kill potential in the Lina Trumpeter lane against a Timbersaw, right? Especially with the early Bracer. So it's just a way to make sure that you don't get completely starved out of this lane. He's actually doing pretty fine. I mean, this 16 last hits is a bit of a cheat because he has got a lot of these small creeps and a lot of these like not so valuable assets, but he's at least keeping himself farmed.
It's a sampler build as well for RR with 111. I just would have thought like it's 10 less damage on Timber Chain compared to the Whirling Death. Of course, Whirling Death's a lot easier to use in an instance, as you can see there. You don't need to set it up. It can't be easily avoided by enemy heroes. But also, Timber Chain gives you the option of escaping. His first blood's actually top. Kishka is going to eventually turn that into a kill. Tag team Ice Shards, it was level 3 was the go time for them, where they pick up a kill onto SV.
Right, so if you went for the full tag team here, you were planning on going Bloodseeker, right? But against Enchantress, Ice Shard Snowball tag team is much better. Because you just get close to her, you close her in, and then you don't really need that much damage to finish her off. You just need a little bit of auto attacks here.
A lot of refill time, though. At least for this Tiny, who is desperately needing one. He'll be able to throw another stun at XC Learn and make his way.
There's the anti-synergy. Down bottom. Sorry, we just saw them cut down a tree with the which got bushwhacked. Oh, but he got extra damage, Avo. Yes, you're totally right. That 11 bonus damage.
He got 11, but it's pure too. It's equivalent it's equivalent to 15 more bonus damage. Really quick cut there by Miracle. What a gamer.
Oh, yeah. You can tell this man used to play Micro Heroes.
For sure.
That Quelling Blade on Lina, I love it as well. I mean, it's actually a pretty valuable item on a hero that already has good base attack damage, but this game particularly, it's incredible. Unfortunately, we don't have Whirling Death. Ace might just die here. Hit him with Dragon Slave, and RR will just chase him to his death. Goodbye to Ace, as 11 tries to cut as many trees as possible out of anger, but it won't deter the Trim Protector.
No, it shall not, but it's about to send a message, killing more of his... what's the lore in Lord of the Rings? Aren't the trees just like really old trees, and all the babies can't speak yet because they're not wise yet?
You mean Ents?
Ents, yes.
Yes. But this is a tree Ent. It's different.
Very different. Tree Ent.
Miracle will find 11. There is a Dragon Slave available in a second. That's not going to be enough damage, but the physical damage is enough. The physical damage, Richie, was enough to kill a Timber, who has a Ring of Protection. If this is not enough to show you that this hero needs a little bit of a buff to that stupid reactive armor, I don't know what.
And a Ring of Health. I mean, he's got a lot of HP regen here. And at the time of his death, lots of armor. But eventually, they'll get through him. They'll whittle him down.
Like, he just doesn't do that incredible raid boss thing anymore, honestly.
They're going to throw down the gauntlet mid lane 6 minutes in for the power runes. And, well, Drink Water have brought friends to the mid lane.
They bolted.
Will it spawn? Good interrupt there. Really nicely done.
That's a great rune as well, the region. Better calculated by 423, right? Because the Split Earth technically has a longer stun duration, so you could charge it earlier. But good toss. XD learn. In trouble now. Oh no! They steal his rune, then his life. Tip him! Tip him! 423.
423 has defeated him in the Gauntlet Challenge. It's all chatted, forever burned into the replay. Very good.
These guys are nice to each other, so they're not going to do those.
No, for sure. Tips. But I think that was actually pretty cool. These streets are named after another teammate. Look at that. That's amazing. It's kind of like he's collecting them and immortalizing all of his ex-teammates. Like, at what point does this become a little bit, you know, do we have to start checking his basement? He has named his courier as well, but I cannot read the script it's in. 11? In trouble? Yeah, his courier has a name.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's another...
Symbols, my friend. Not script.
Well, it's, I guess it's not like script, like a code, right? But...
No, there's three, either alphabet, scripts, or symbol languages. It means little mouse. Oh, there we go.
Oh, very cool.
Miracle. Okay, that's actually really well played by the Timber Song and not breaking the tree till the very end. Let Magic Wand and Miracle activates it. Barely enough, Miracle.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say, no way Living Armor is that strong.
I was giving him a little bit of a hope. He has Javelin now, though, so he does hurt the Timber a fair amount because that's magical damage.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Okay, I really like this first item build, actually, by Zeal. I know we've talked a lot about his summons, about his nicknames. As there he goes, rotating in here. He will be awarded a kill for his troubles, and that'll get him along a lot faster here towards his first item, which is what I wanted to talk about, which is his Orchid. I really like this choice. It's a great early activation item for NP. Gives him a purpose, gives him a target always to go on in these fights, you know, and gets him involved early. I really like that.
No, apparently someone told us Young Heng Jo is also one of his old teammates.
Yes, it was in the our observer showed us they used to toast.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that. Toast. Okay. So they're all his old teammates. So if he plays enough summon heroes, do we see his whole?
I guess we will.
History of teams.
That's what I mean. We'll get his whole Wikipedia history in there. He's his own historian.
You know when some team loses in a tournament and they go, win for me, right? He's literally doing it with everyone he's ever played.
It's true, and in that way, I think it's actually really sweet.
It is very sweet, actually. Zeal is growing on us.
For sure.
Initially, I wanted him to lose, but now, you know, I'm neutral. I'm no longer a biased caster.
There it is. No longer biased. We've done it, lads. Tree tower is falling, however.
Yep.
With this first wagon, as there's a rupture onto Kishka. They do have supports here, and now the core Tiny. Kill is going to be down bottom. Miracle's going to kill 11 in the meantime. Hopefully then Lilgun can get something out of this. Zeal TPing away. No stuns to stop him, so it'll only be the Tusk in exchange for their own offlaner.
That was pretty funny. So they saw the tree being dropped, right, and he immediately assumed bushwhack, and because of that, he miscalculated the blood rate evasion with a snowball. So they actually baited him interestingly. I don't know if they wanted to kill the Nature's Prophet to begin with. I think that was a much harder kill, personally. They still had the Wrath of Nature. And they would have probably TP'd if they gone for Nature's for the MP as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, tough kill there. But pretty decent start to at least this Tiny's rotations, right? He goes bottom, he gets a kill. He goes top, he gets a kill. Very successful stuff so far. For now, the Lesh, of course, is just making a mad dash towards this Bloodstone. Don't really see too many times these days, unless the Lesh can easily get a kill against heroes that are diving towers. Don't really see him rotate away to side lanes too much anymore, as it's just like Bloodstone as soon as possible and then start diving towers, basically. So I don't mind this playstyle at all, such because Miracle doesn't really need the help. Yes, he has died now the one time, but he's even gotten a solo kill here onto 11, so he's really having no hard times down here as he builds into the Maelstrom first.
Okay. I mean, that's the usual build we've seen these days. I guess the lack of boots is a bit weird. Usually you got like at least brown boots, but sure. Maelstrom against Timber, a little more impactful. Goes for the Hoodwink now. Overgrowth. That's not going to stop the Sharpshooter, though. So Miracle will just die, utilizing a fair amount of resources to do nothing to the Squirrel, and they lose their carry in the process. At least, though, mid lane, it's going a little bit better for them. NP does have a teleportation if he needs to join them. So 4-2-3 rotate, or TP's back mid. Here's the Elf from Kishka. They do find SC. Is Zeal joining them? I do hear a teleport.
Yeah, if they can hit him with Rupture. Oh, the ice shards are just off. They were hoping to trap him in, but now Exiled might be in trouble.
Don't run more.
There's a snowball.
Okay. They're setting up for a counter initiation. There's a snowball to save him for the blood right. That's gonna move him, but he's gonna be fine. No damage taken inside that snowball. He still dies as Zeal finally joins the fray. One support's down, the second one dies as well. They have taken the mid laner in exchange, but Drinkwater got 2 supports and a mid laner and a tower.
Yeah, so a pretty big win there, especially as Miracle does join the fight there towards the tail end after he respawns, after they kill him down bottom. Timbersaw still struggling. Not really struggling. He is kind of struggling with the Terrain Protector constantly applying living armor here. And they're actually going to make a play trying to take down 11, speaking of, at least maybe clear the wave. He might be a bit of a tough kill now with 3 points in reactive armor and the full Hooded Defiance. But they will continue to delay this tower push going down. Really good good move by Drinkwater. Stopping this Timber from finding any kind of immediate impact in this game.
For sure. I mean, the poor guy, I don't think can really last. And the Orchid, like you mentioned, is going to completely seal his fate, right? Because does he Lotus Orb now? Like, genuinely, does he just rush something like that to dispel? Yules, maybe?
Wouldn't mind a Yules this game. Wouldn't mind a Yules.
I prefer Lotus personally. I think Yules is very weak on Timber these days. But I can see this game being a desperate attempt. He has stacks to recover at least, though. That's a pretty big deal.
That's true. It also does set you up for 2 stuns, right? The LSA and the Split Earth. So it's pretty rough. There is a Smoke Gank, though. They're going to jump onto Trill. And with Miracle here, saving the Laguna, they will pick it up. Yeah, no, I mean, it is going to be real tough. I think... I mean, I guess he doesn't really need to be concerned with the Sprout Leash's talent because he can just cut down all the trees. Maybe Lotus is the move then, right? Because a little bit more armor. What are you dispelling here? The silence keeps you fighting. Yeah, it's a little tough, right? I guess if Timber can do the trick where he sends the Timber Chain and then you also... Oh, hold on, Miracle. He might be dead here.
Miracle might just die. That Second Ray failed, and that sends him to death.
Wow, that was
He's playing
really
interestingly more aggressively than the other 2 cores.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if that was an NP farming like that, I'd be like, okay, like, he's an NP, you know, he's an off lane, he needs to be kind of farming this aggressively because Lina needs to take the safe farm. But you look at where Zeal's farming on the map, and it's Zeal who's taking the safe farm. Granted, he is about to reach a big item here. He's about to pick up that full Orchid. But that kill has gotten the Tiny now Blink Dagger, so 4-2-3, he's going to be fairly online now this game.
Yeah. I don't think you could... Yeah, we'll see that. What Drinkwater's next moves are, particularly. Was Zeal.
It's a smoke, yeah.
I mean, for now, they're just going to lose Nature's Prophet. And, like you said, the Blink Dagger already got 4-2-3 online. I was hoping that Drinkwater had some sort of plan for this, but I guess they just didn't calculate Tiny's farm at all, and they just assumed hopefully he doesn't have a Blink Dagger yet.
And it's pretty brutal because Kishka's pretty far away from his own Blink. There's a free kill at least onto the Hoodwink. Ulgon thinking about continuing this aggressive move is connected from behind the Timbersaw. Tiny's coming too.
Yeah, they're all coming. They are near a tier 2 though, so Lesser can always TP, and Zeal of course can always teleport. He is Nature's Prophet after all.
They have a Centaur, in the middle of those treants, like he was He's one of them. He's like the little ugly duckling of the bunch.
That's really cute. The one centaur. This is day 5 of being one with the trees.
They still don't know. I accidentally hoof stomped and they asked me what the heck I just did.
I was just walking. I was just walking.
Bottom tower is under attack.
You can see though this tower is still like half HP by the time they start this siege, and they're taking it down slowly but surely here with now the max living armor that Stream Protector is holding on to. Eventually though, of course, it will end. And they're really making them work for it with the Fortify. Just burning lots of time, allowing these items to come online, right? Lesh, he's using this time very well after his 1 death to try and get Bloodstone online. He's actually taken 3 deaths so far, but the 1 death, of course, after the tiny Blink Dagger. Kishka as well, halfway towards his own Blink, which I think is a pretty big deal here. I'm wondering when they're going to make a play, because Zeal is the richest hero in the game. He's now overtaken Lina. He's been sitting on this Orchid and hasn't used it yet.
Why do you say the Blink Dagger on Kishka is such a big deal? Like, on Tiny, I get it, but on Tusk, do you really think the impact of this Blink Dagger is as high?
Yeah, I think so, right? Because it's going to allow you to move heroes away out of chakrams, away from sharpshooters, out of the Tiny toss combo maybe, away from Blood Rites, and you know, you move them without rupturing them. I do think it's a pretty big deal. Ooh, good body block there on the sharpshooter.
Okay, Kishka. Let's see, there's going to be the Overgrowth, 11.
Tiny's running into the base.
We are going to lose the Timber Saw, 4-3. We'll be trying to get away here. Has a TP, but I think it's impossible.
Blink?
At least he's wasting time. Well, maybe, not impossible. Never mind. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. He snowballed just in time, just in case. Oh, fish punch, but doesn't high five him before he fish punches him? I think that's the...
They've high fived already once. I think he probably could have TP'd there. There wasn't Snowball or Walrus Punch for the longest time. I think Lesh was a bit too far away. He had the mana. I think he just kind of maybe didn't have the cooldowns on Tusk. Kind of, you know, when you just like have a feel of when the cooldowns are coming back. He probably just didn't know when they were coming back online because everything was ready for him. Just wanted to burn a little bit of extra time. Churl's doing good with this time, though. He's pretty close to BKB. Needs another, like, 2,000 gold, so he's getting there slowly but surely. It's going to be a pretty important item here, so he's not silenced in the middle of these fights. Bloodstone now finished for Exilern, doubling back now for the bot, so his farm as well is about to start exploding. And surprisingly, it's Miracle who's fallen a little bit behind his other 2 cores. I think this is why Lilgun are being so aggressive,
considering the place, though. Right?
Exactly, though. But this is why I like the response from Lilgun, which is make these crazy dives past tier 2 towers. Like, normally I'd expect Lilgun to make these plays with the Lesh, with the NP that can TP in from behind. But Lilgun are the ones being much more aggressive this game. I think this is a really good change of pace compared to game 1.
Exilern now, fighting against the Enchantress. He gets ruptured. TPs immediately. He doesn't want to deal with it.
Yeah,
I do feel, though, like... Drinkwater's main K this time is not necessarily Lina. Like, it could be Lesh and NP, or NP rather. Like, anyone can take that role, and it's not that big a deal. Compared to last time where it's like Lina or bust, this time denying Lina is not that big a deal because anyone can deal with your Bloodseeker. No offense to Bloodseeker.
Yeah, that's true. I do think Zeal's building a little bit more as utility, though, because he's going for Bloodthorn immediately.
No, 11. He seems to be dying right now. Tag team is pretty brutal. And 11 will fall. An exchange for Kishka at least, but they get 2 cores here thanks to the Laguna Blade as well.
He bought Curse of the Old Growth. He bought Shard on Nature's Prophet.
Fascinating.
Kishka's done this before, but the only game, and he's played a lot of games, especially in the open. He's played a lot of Nature's Prophet. Sorry, for Zeal, thank you, yes. Zeal's played a lot of Nature's Prophet in the open qualifiers. And the only time I saw him buy Curse of the Old Growth was in their seeding match versus Neon Esports, in which both teams were being a little clowny, to say the least.
I mean, it is Vision, though.
I don't think it's that good.
But as I'm reading the ability, I think everything but the Vision is pretty garbage. But the Vision is not bad. Like, it's 1200 range.
Yeah, it's an AoE as well. It's not just a targeted. It's an AoE. It affects every hero
so it's 1200 range around you. It's essentially increasing your vision for a while, and it also goes up high ground. Bloodseeker, by the way, in the top lane is gonna die. Oh, one last rupture before he dies.
I guess that's a good use of it, right? Sieging high ground. I could see that being worth the cost. Miracle though in trouble. Oh, they missed the
pushback though. Now they have the Overgrowth. Lexicary hits and he blocks that sharpshooter. Go look at
really great shard.
What an ice shards. Talking about blocking, they block their escape. Here they have full vision now, going for the hoodwink. That might be the reasoning as well, because you can scurry in the trees. and that way she can't really escape. They have the Nature's Grasp as well on top of the Leech Seed, and Ace will fall to these residual damage sources.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if there's a hero you wanted against, it would be the Hoodwink. It's just like, I'm a little bit surprised. Obviously, I think it's clear he's not farming or playing as quite the carry win condition, quote unquote, because of his item build. I don't think like a carry NP would have built this item, even in this kind of game, right? He just wants more damage, and that's not going to help him get kills the same way that like maybe a Maelstrom or saving that 1400 for the Mjolnir upgrade would. But yeah, I mean, I could see it for an offlaner. I guess in this kind of game, it does make much more sense than other pickups I've seen. Lexi learn. Running around now. Another cloak here. So he's got lots of magic resist, the 10 armor, bloodstone.
Probably Eternal Shroud now with the cloak, right?
6k lead for him as they start to really take over this map and do whatever they please, as Miracle's going to be the one to grab this Aegis. Going for a really early Satanic here, actually, for Miracle.
Yeah, I was surprised about this too. Like straight into the Satanic.
No BKB.
No BKB this game. I guess most of the enemy team pierces BKB. I guess BKB is only for Timbersaw. If you don't consider that a hero, then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you know, pretty true, right? Rupture, the right clicks. I guess you'll be taking damage from Maelstrom, but well, there's CD dying again. I see. Running up that hill, dying. Poor Bambi. Sure. He decides it's not worth it. He wants the lifesteal. I guess like if it does make a lot of sense versus like this Bloodseeker hero, right? You want to remove you don't want to be on low HP, obviously versus anyone, but especially him. Kind of renders his thirst useless in the 1v1 versus you. He kind of just like runs at you. It's a stand your ground item, right? The Satanic, right? Which is what you said. Bloodseekers already doesn't like playing into. So in that regard, the item does make a lot of sense, right? Especially because like the silence of Bloodright is not going to affect you from using it. I think it makes sense, considering the matchup that he's concerned about.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I just feel like it's just all about standing your ground, right? And it also makes you kind of unkillable as well. Like I think Intimidation, while being odd for Drinkwater, it's adjusting to this game. But I also feel like they have so much leeway because the draft Logan is a little bit meh. Right, I just feel like the Logan has so many holes that Drinkwater can abuse. They could just take any of them, honestly.
Agreed. Especially with, I think this is double bots, right? Not quite. It's queued up eventually for Miracle, but fairly quickly, this split put shenanigan that maybe Hoodwink, maybe Ench, maybe Tiny even at some stage are going to try and do to buy a bit more time is going to fall off. And 4-2-3 here with potentially a big moment as Little Gun with a little bit of a misplay there. They will actually double smoke, not the biggest deal. But have a DD in the bottle with this Echo Saber Tiny. It could be a moment for them. They're fighting under vision though for Drinkwater.
It's a little bit dangerous because we still have the overgrowth to counter Nation. Kishka just took the whole enemy team for a ride. Now Trill is forced back to BKB. SD's already dead because of Laguna Blade. So is Ace. 2 supports down. What else can they find? A Bloodseeker. They missed the overgrowth, but the Ice Shards are good. That TP will not complete. Wow. Trill is dead. Drinkwater is destroying them.
Yeah, and that's the ward that wins in the fight. You can see, I think that's Timbersaw that starts pinging it after the fight lost.
Look, Miracle's trying to bait the Tiny.
It just completely broke him. He's got Aegis. He'll be all right.
No, he will, but he's trying to bait the Tiny to go.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Because they can counter him afterwards. Yeah, there we go. See? Miracle.
Well, maybe now he's a bit alone,
take it.
I will
he does.
say.
He does.
He needs like a right click.
Coming in.
No.
And Miracle's not even going to die.
The Mask of Death.
They missed the bushwhack.
Stops him from dying.
Living armor, man.
Living armor, yeah. Lifesteal too was pretty crucial there. I mean, he's already so big. This is
the Banjo playing.
Down bottom. Oh, dispels the Orchid. I don't think he has the damage that he needs though. Yeah, Zeal's just gonna TP away. Pardon me.
Guys, this Timbersaw hero really sucks right now, huh? I really can't do anything.
Doesn't feel too amazing. He's going for this Bloodstone. I don't know. Maybe that'll do a little bit here for him. Because he's almost got it online at the least.
I feel like you just Razor if you want to play that build, right? Like a Viper, and honestly, Death Prophet. Like, there's so many better options than Timbers.
Yeah, I think a DP would have been an interesting idea this game for sure. I think Razor's hard into range carries, but agreed in general, right, with the point you're making.
Yeah, but the Bloodstone build is actually not that. Like, the Bloodstone build makes Razor good against range carries because Plum's Fuel deals max damage to them.
It's true.
So it actually doesn't feel that bad. Also, Lina has like 1 or 2 targeted spells. She attacks fast, right? So you trigger a lot of the passives, which is what you care about as Razor. I mean, I'm not saying like Razor necessarily for this game. I'm just saying I feel like this is probably the worst option you have.
For sure. There's the Bloodstone online, so he's making the best. He must make best situation out of no situation, as I believe they say.
Yeah, sure.
And he's gonna see what this Bloodstone can do for him now. Is gonna be some decent damage against Zeal. There's the Dispel, needs a little bit more, and still lacks it. Zeal is not really that tanky either, to be honest. 1500 HP, a little bit more when he toggles to the Strength Treads. But just is not going to die that quickly to Timber.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
There's the TP from the Leshrac to the bottom lane. Let's see what XC Learn is going to find here. Okay, just an Enchantress, not that big a deal.
And they're going to get
as long as 11 and 423 can both get away, right?
I reckon they should. They both have TPs, but they're going to stick around actually, Alva. They want to kill.
I'll tear you limb from limb.
They really want this kill.
Don't do this.
It seems
because
really
you
scary.
can always teleport with Zeal.
Yep. And I think not quite Miracle. Oh, Miracle did actually stop to buy the BOTs before finishing up the Satanic, so he could also join this fight too. Not to mention, and probably will. No, that's everyone's already gone here. Kind of risky though. 4-2-3 at least trying to make a play.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Miracle about to finish off the Satanic here. Checking in on Trill. Is going for this Manta style. Has BKB and only Maelstrom. He's even fell behind the farm here for 11. So this Bloodseeker matchup is looking difficult.
Manta is also like not a very good item. I mean, like this game, I understand, right? Bloodthorn, Evade Lightstrike Array, potentially then Nature's Prophet as well.
Yeah,
Can go
maybe
for
you get out of
Axe
shards or something like that too.
Yeah, Overgrowth. Like it's good, but it's. I mean, a shard doesn't help you with Manta, but it's not a good item for Bloodseeker in general. It doesn't really help you snowball at all. Sanjin Yash is much better generally. It's just kind of like a deviation for this game. So you have to consider that Manta style is actually like half the real net worth. So he's actually not at 11k. I mean, I guess now he is because he really is missing the Manta style. But the next 2k that he gets is not real 2k, essentially. So Nature's Prophet will still be stronger than him. So will Leshrac, so will Lina.
And Nature's Prophet now actually has himself, pardon me, that Silver Edge. So really slot efficient items. He's actually still holding on to that GG branch. But Lil
still
looking for a
Scotty
fight.
now. If he wants to go for full late game Nature's Prophet, I think will be fine. It's very good against Bloodseeker.
Agreed. For now, though, he's going to go into the Hurricane Pike first.
Dire's
But
bottom tower-
Drinkwater
okay.
actually have a ward here.
They found the Lina. Arcade Satanic fights against Bloodseeker head on. Okay, Bloodseeker's beating her actually. Well, yeah, he does. Overgrowth finally helping out, and Lina's still hitting. Finally, Trill will fall. Miracle took a while, but he did it. 4-3 died in the backlines to Zeal, who just destroyed him because of the Bloodthorn and Silver Edge.
Yep.
And we also see XC Learn finally joining the fight, hoping to get a tower instead. TPing top, 11 cancels his TP. Zeal was considering this too, and they'll settle for a tier
Dire's
2.
bottom tower is under attack.
Still a good fight. I mean, that's the fight that Drinkwater awkwardly take right as soon as Aegis expires. Like they own Aegis on Miracle expires, and he's just caught farming. And again, he can just stand his ground and fight. Right? He's ruptured. He tanks through all of the Hoodwinks damage, no problem. Of course, the Sharpshooter breaks, but you don't remove active stacks of Fiery Soul or almost any ability with stacks with a break.
Yes.
You just prevent more stacks from accumulating during that time of the break. So she just had the attack speed, right? And that was really the biggest problem there between the lifesteal. Zeal is just solo killed 11 as well.
Radiant's top tower is under
So that matchup's finally turned on its head. Zeal used to be TPing away from him, and well, now it's going to be probably 11 TPing away from Zeal anytime he sees him.
This is going to be a Roche that brings the shard in, so maybe you give it to Lush now, and now you'll have the best high ground sieging mode ever. Because between the Split Earth and the, what's it called, Curse of the Old Growth, my god, you'll have a really easy time going up to the high ground, which has already been pretty easy for them to begin with. Honestly, they have such a humongous lead, their draft is better. We're just beating a dead horse at this point.
Good banjo taunt there from the Hoodwink at least. Playing some music to lift the spirits.
Yeah, the banjo, you mean?
Banjo. Banjo Kazooie.
Are you really American?
Bango. I would love to learn to play the banjo, but apparently it's really hard to play that instrument. They have a ward here, so they're just going to start hitting Zeal. Oh no, they have vision on him.
Yep, 4-2-3's dead. Top lane, by the way, Miracle's just taking your tier 3s. And you know, your racks. Miracle's like, guys, I don't know if they have damage anymore.
Yeah.
And Timbersaw goes in to die. Oh, Bloodstone. That did nothing.
No, didn't look as strong on the Timber as it did on him.
Find the Bloodseeker, not kill the Bloodseeker. Split Earth, at least the Enchantress. Take down the towers. There we go, Walrus Punch. We still have the Ice Shards, keeps Essie in place. Another death for the Dire.
GG.
Except
that's it.
It's GG.
Congrats.
Drinkwater will make it to the Division 2. They'll be the second qualified teams. Congratulations to them as they take a 2-0 against Lil Gun.
Very well played. A little bit of the celebration-based rumbling as the overgrowth there is cancelled repeatedly. The rumbling in the ears, the roar, the applause as Drinkwater are going to qualify. GG well played to them as they will round out our two teams at Spawn and Lil Gun in joining us for the DPC 2023 Winter Tour here in the SVA Division 2. So congrats to them. Really exciting to see them, Miracle, back in the DPC, man.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, he was there with Nigma Galaxy last season, so he was in Division 1. Now, unfortunately, he's bound to Division 2. But honestly, this team looks good. When you look at Division 2 teams, you really do want teams that either have like a lot of potential but are lacking consistency. I think that was the case of Spawn team where they played really well, but there are moments where you're like, what are you doing, right? That's perfect for Division 2 because they're going to iron those out over the consistency of the league. They're going to learn a lot from this experience. It's fine, right? A lot of Spawn team in their case was also newer players, right? So it makes sense, or newer players to this level of Dota. So it makes sense to get, or it's good for them to be in Division 2. And this is the opposite team, right? This is a team that already has proven themselves in terms of mechanical ability and consistency. And we're seeing growth as this new stack starts to learn from each other, right? And we actually have seen it over the close qualifiers. They started out a little bit weak, a little bit shaky, and as it went on, it went from a stack of a bunch of talented individuals to more of a team with good drafting concepts, an identity, and just general overall synergy. I would say that Lil Gun, obviously, or I hope that he'll compete in the next open qualifiers, right? Part of Lil Gun will still be in Division 1 and Division 2 because the players got poached a little bit around, particularly Kishka, he'll be Division 2 here, but this team needs to, I think they need to find quite the opposite. They need to find the identity. What they're lacking is not really consistency, but some things like drafting concepts, which I think were both pretty weak, and some macro concepts. They're very good mechanical players, but they might lack what you need in competitive. So it'd be good to use this time to like participate in a lot of the smaller cups, you know, 1K or 2K cups, to learn about these things.
I think what really excites me personally about Drinkwater is you're right, like they have started to come together a little bit more and form an identity as a team. But what's really exciting is that they have a lot of really flexible cores. You know, like Zeal can be the carry. Miracle doesn't mind playing the Doom very much in the utility core kind of way, right? Xdealer is just a really high skill player. I feel like his hero pool is pretty diverse. I haven't really seen him struggle on a single hero in meta. We'll see what happens if we do get a patch before the start of Div 2. But what's really cool is that like this team, like they have ideas about Dota and like they actively like use, like again, I'm gonna go back to the open qualifiers, which is still like their first week competing together as a stack or a team, right? And they're already coming together with ideas like, hey, I'm gonna build Crimson early, first item on the Doom, you build Wraith Pack first item, we're gonna come and just deathball mid. Like they're really actively thinking about the game together with each other's item timings. Miracle in this game alone, right? Going for the early Satanic, you can see in this highlight like how much that wins him, like BKB and he dies here, right? And sure, maybe the game is already still a really good position for Drinkwater, but the idea that he thinks about this, that he's going for different builds and is willing to, you know, break from and deviate from the norm, as Miracle has always done, to be honest, is really exciting to have in Div 2, you know? So I can't wait to see them play against all the other contenders that we have. GG well played to them. They're going to round out the two teams.
Yeah, GG well played. And I hope some of the other teams that unfortunately were not able to qualify will still get a chance in the next season open qualifiers, of course. And there's tons of SDA tournaments during the DPC that aren't DPC, right? So they still get chances to participate or continue in this wonderful game. Once again, reminder that Young Galacticus, unfortunately, they were disqualified. That's why they were not participating in this final, which is why Drinkwater gets the free win and therefore gets to qualify to the Division 2. You can check out the Eeples Twitter for more information on that disqualification. On that note, you should probably follow our socials right now, as Twitter, Eeples Twitter and Eeples Twitch particularly is where all of Division 1C and Division 2C will be will be broadcasted. There will also be YouTube stream, Facebook stream, and Trovo stream, of course. So you guys can check those out. You can find all those links on Twitter when we post them. But if you're a Twitch user, which I'm assuming most of you are, because that's where we get the largest viewership, remember to hit the follow button right now, as that way you will be able to watch all of the Div 1 and Div 2 SCA DPC. For now, or for today, we're done with the closed qualifiers, and we're going to take a rather large break for Christmas and New Year's as we wait for that Division 1 DPC to begin on the 9th of January. My name is Mr. Travel Plus. I've been joined here by Seek and Strike Dota. It's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the games of the cast, and we'll see you in 2023. Goodbye.